What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Showdown Breakdown Tournament Showdown Breakdown Tournament Tactics NFL Week 10, where we cover the NFL Week 10 Main Slate primarily on DraftKings. We'll throw a little bit of FanDuel in there, but we are bringing a tournament perspective. We're looking for tournament tactics. What can we do to try to win the big contests for NFL Week 10? With me to break it down, as always, the dream team is here. Josiah, Bob226, GPP multi-time winner, and ladies man extraordinaire. Does not know the difference between a transmission or a brake pad. That's a whole other story. And of course, we got Bobby Millions here, multi-time Millie Maker winner himself, and the DFS scientist, the mad scientist of DFS in the Shark Lab all week long. Creating DFS potions. Burns, author of Winning the $1 Million Game, DraftKings Secrets of the Millie Maker, available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, B. Dalton, and anywhere you get your books. All right, guys, that's it. Let's fucking go. NFL Week 10 is here, and let's jump over to it. You know, this week we'll just pop on the matchup screen here real quick to see this, but I feel like I'm excited to look at the ownerships for this week because it's been there's a couple of spots that really stand out, and then I'm curious as to what the field is going to be doing, you know, outside of some of the obvious spots. So a quick look at the game tiles, and there's one that really stands out above the others here: San Francisco at Tampa. 50.5 point total, fairly close spread. These games with Tampa have been spectacular all season long. They score, they allow a lot of scoring. Like Tampa has been like the cheat code of teams to focus against. So I like the spot, but you know, not really anything else that really pops too much. If you take a look at the board, you've got kind of a blowout, possible blowout situation for the Bills. Love the Bills, but a little blowouty over there. You've got a possible blowout situation for the Eagles. So, you know, not really sure we're going to get too much competitiveness in that one. Got kind of a turd game here with Patriots and the Bears, a little turdly. Going to ask BobbyWow about Caleb, but I don't think we're going to get a good response there. Crappy game here, Chargers and the Titans. Not super exciting. Don't really like playing anyone against the Titans. That hasn't paid off very well this year. Kind of a weird one here with Washington at Pittsburgh. Again, inconspicuous 45 point total. Pittsburgh, not a team I'm really looking to target players against, or haven't been this year. So, I mean, it's not that much. I guess this Falcons-Saints game, a little bit interesting. What do you guys think? And what, outside of this main game, do any of these games sort of pop on screen for you guys as like, that is one I think that can produce some fantasy goodness? Josiah, anything?
Yeah, I mean, this is the totals. Like the Jets-Arizona game, that one looks a little sneaky, but you're not going to feel great about it. You like the Vikings, but it gets ugly. Nothing crazy for me.
Yeah, nothing popping. Burns, did any of these pop on your screener this week, like in the lab? Like a little Jets action against the Cardinals, maybe? A little under the radar, Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, I think the game that we haven't talked about that's popping right now is the Pittsburgh-Washington game. That one I'll have quite a bit of ownership in, especially on the Pittsburgh side.
Wow. Okay. Unexpected right there. BobbyWow, how about you? Any of these games kind of, they're all under the radar, I think, outside of the main one. So any of these teams kind of popping on your DFS could do better than expected radar?
Yeah, I think for me, it's, you mentioned the Bills and the Colts. I think that looks a little ugly on paper, but I think, we could see some offense out of that one. I do think Falcons and Saints is probably another game that I'm going to end up targeting. It feels really, really gross, but we've seen some of those Falcons and Saints games, kind of explode for points, just a couple of relatively weaker defenses overall. So that's probably one I'll have some exposure to as well, as much as I hate to say it.
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with that. I look at that game and I'm like, it ain't going to be Derek Carr. That's for sure.
No.
And I'm not sure who those Saints wide receivers.
Why are you for sure on that? I'm just curious.
No, just for me.
Olave, he couldn't do anything against the Panthers last week. No, Carr's dead to me.
There's no wide receivers on the team.
Olave might be out, right?
He is definitely out.
Yeah,
okay,
he's not playing.
He's
Also,
definitely
I feel like you just declared Olave a wide receiver last week for the first time, so it's not like not anything's really changed.
I think we can all agree that
I
my
just need
dislike, Olave cannot be trusted even in the best of spots now.
Agreed. I was just teasing.
Listen, I feel bad for the guy, and that was a horrible hit, and I hope he's going to be better.
That was brutal.
He's got like a little Tua Tagovailoa fears going on. He's had a few too many concussions in a short period of time. Great, talented kid. So we hope the best for Olave and a fast recovery. But I just don't like Derek Carr. Like, I'm not playing Derek Carr with Olave. I'm not playing without him. Like, what are we, crazy? Like, oh, let's just take away his weapons and now get on board Mr. 13 point fantasy point special. No, thank you.
Yeah, right.
Not into that. Let's do a little sort. So here we go. I'm going to do a little sort by ownership and take a look at the optimizer as of today, as of Friday afternoon. We'll see what happens, right? But as of right now, again, a surprising chalk, a little bit surprising for me, and Sam Darnold as the highest owned. It's all very surprising. Brock Purdy, I get it. I thought Brock Purdy would be the highest owned, guys. He should be. He should be, but he's not.
I don't disagree. But the Jets have been so bad. I think that's part of it. And people they remember seeing Darnold be so explosive earlier this season. That's what everyone's excited about.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm not sure that the Jaguars are going to be competitive in a situation like this. They're missing a lot of players as well.
Not without Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, T-Law's out. I don't really get it. Like, the Vikings are going to slaughter the Jaguars in this game. By the way,
their defense is...
What the hell's the spread on that thing? Hold on a second.
Yeah,
the 7's not even enough. Here. Yeah,
Vikings defense, man.
Vikings defense is the play good. You got to pay for it. There's a few good defenses. They're going to destroy these guys. Herbert, I get it. Herbert, he's cheap. I'm going to have a hard time with that one too. The Titans have not good. The Titans are not a team to target players against this year. That has not been a winning combination. If I pull up the, I'll pull it up in a minute. But when you look at the power ranking sheet, the Titans are the worst team to play offenses against on the season. There it is. Love it. Love it. Good stuff, John. Mahomes. All right. I guess against the Broncos. This is for lack of other options, guys. The chalk is really weird. Jalen Hurts kind of low at 4%. Baker Mayfield, no one wants Baker because he's got no wide receivers. Baker don't need no wide receivers.
Yeah, he was good last week.
He don't need wide receivers. This isn't Derek Carr. This is Baker Mayfield. He doesn't need anything.
And Ott's basically a receiver too, so you have that.
You put a mid-level tight end on the team, Kate Otten, and he turns into the next coming of Tony Gonzalez. Forget Travis Kelce. He's Tony G. Yeah, that's right. I went back because I don't want Kelce.
Yeah, but there's weird chalk on this slate. Like, extremely weird.
We're gonna get into it. How about Bo Nix though at unowned, or Kirk Cousins in the best spot of them all for cheap at 2% ownership? There's some interesting spots here, guys. Ownership's a little weird right now.
Yeah, I mean, Marshawn Lattimore is no longer with New Orleans. That actually decimates that secondary. Marshawn Lattimore was their secondary for a good number of years. So
mental note, Burns. The next time healthy Mike Evans goes up against the Saints,
load up, baby.
We have the narrative of you can't play Mike Evans against the Saints. They always shut him down.
Load up.
Not this time.
Nope. It's
The thing with Cousins though is he's not cheap. Like, he's 6,700. He's pretty pricey. Fourth highest, like most expensive quarterback on the slate. That's what makes it tough to get to him.
He was in a prime matchup last week and he faltered. I mean, he only got 19 DraftKings points. Yeah, I don't know if I want Kirk Cousins this week. I want his pieces around him, but I don't know if I want him.
If you saw the power rankings, you might want Kirk Cousins. Let me pull this up. I got to show you guys some of the numbers here. So this is the power ranking sheet is really, like, for me, my
stats
Bible.
Might get upset with you.
Well, it's it is the Bible of, like, matchups and sort of the best of this, I think.
Yeah, so it's why I played Bryce Young last week.
Well, when we show it, we have to remind everybody that And
I
many
told
other
you not
tools.
to play him.
You were right. I can admit when I was wrong.
Come
I
on,
could have
bro.
told you that. Like everybody was like the whole week, Bryce Young, Bryce Young. Oh, fuck that guy.
You knew better than that. You knew better than that.
That
So,
guy.
all right, some numbers here, guys. Take a look at the passing yard numbers on the power ranking sheet available exclusively on the Sharp app. Sharp.app is where you get it. The best site for the most amazing sports betting tools, including live odds, real-time projections, and odds from over 70 sports books. An EV tool, all kinds of amazing tools there. The Discord, everything you need to be a Sharp bettor, the Sharp report, beat the closing lines. Check out Sharp.app, promo code DFSA25 for 25% off. See, now I can show the tool. Now it's a sponsored
Yeah,
tool.
but look at where Darnold is. I mean, if you look at this tool, look at Darnold, look at Purdy. I mean, these are really good numbers.
They're standing out, but who else stands out?
Yeah, I mean, he stands out too.
You know what this tool tells me? It tells me that there's a lot of ugly options in okay spots, which means Mac Jones is in play. That's what it tells me.
Oh, you had to say it. You're not wrong though.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's good players, but in kind of not such good situations. And that's a great week for DFS guys. That's actually a great thing because the chalk cannot settle around any one spot, or it will get bad chalk on a week like this, a lot of bad chalk, because we'll pick like one guy and then the whole field is going to chase it. So I think this is most definitely the kind of week where we want to be wary of that and not as scared to just like play some Bo Nix in a bad spot, because who cares?
You're just gonna pretend like Bobby didn't say Mac Jones.
We ain't playing Mac Jones.
Yeah,
Yes,
when we
we
get
are.
to the wide receiver,
We're playing Mac Jones?
position,
Yes, we are.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
when we get to the wide receiver position, I'll point out some really bad chalk.
We'll get into a lot of it, but let's start. All right. Now that I just found out about the Mac Jones thing, I'm more excited.
I mean, well, let's be honest. We're not in love with Mac Jones, okay? But we are playing him this week.
Are we playing Caleb? That's the real question.
I refuse
Not
to
me.
comment on any Bears players until further notice. I get dinged on being a homer and all the comments all everywhere.
He just has to pass for over 200 yards, and he doesn't do that very often. So,
Caleb,
yeah,
I really want 300 yards in fairness.
I know, but he needs to get to 200 first.
They're going to come. Listen, rookies are up and down. That's just what it is. And you got to take the good with the bad. That's how you win tournaments. All right. It's okay. People rip on situations. Guys, there's nothing wrong with picking a 2% owned quarterback, and that week he puts up a 9, and you feel stupid. Don't feel stupid, because that same guy the next week in the same exact spot might put up a 30. What was more important is that you made a sharp DFS decision by playing a 2% owned quarterback, that if you were correct, or if they had that one game out of 4 that they hit their ceiling, you're putting yourself in a real chance to win a tournament. So never feel bad. Never ding BobbyWow.
Yeah, I'll give a caveat
ding
though.
Bobby
There
Wow.
has to be upside. The quarterback has to have upside who's low owned. Caleb Williams is one of those quarterbacks who does have upside though. So it does make sense for him, but don't just play bad quarterbacks because they're low owned.
Yeah, of course. There got to be some upside, and he can't be Derek Carr. Under no circumstance should it ever be Derek Carr.
Agreed.
Unless it's week 1.
Or 2.
You know what? That was when they suck you in, Burns. You got it. That's like when you're trading stocks and it breaks a new all-time high. It takes all the suckers in. Oh, it's breaking out. And then boom, you're done. They do it on purpose. It's all psychological. And that same thing happens in fantasy scoring with Derek Carr in particular. Okay, guys, let's get into the QB position, and let's just dive in for NFL Week 10. And I just clicked a bad button on my screen. Let's undo that. But we're taking a look at the QBs, and of course, at the very top, you've got the expensives: Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and Jaden Daniels, and they're the only 3. I'll put those 3 on that list. Josh Allen, I'm going to say he's been a bit of a fantasy disappointment this year. He's averaging 20.9 fantasy points per game. The 30-plus games are few and far between, and they happen very early in the season. At 8K, 8, 16, 24, 32 is the requirement. He's hitting that 1 out of 4, which is pretty good if he's a running back, but not that great for a quarterback. We want our quarterbacks hitting 4x half the time if we're in good shape. What do you guys think?
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Can I ask you when the last time Jaden Daniels hit 30 points was?
He has not done it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, he's not done it.
To be very clear, he has not done it, not against this salary level. 25, he's got a 28, 740, 20, 28. So, yeah, actually, the first couple weeks, I'll give it to him. Right there, he needs about a 30. Here, he's hit 28. But
and that was in week 3. Long time.
He needs to be about $1,000 cheaper.
He was also 6K at that time, and that was a 5X, and he smashed everybody's faces in. Yeah. Right. So now he's priced more to his ceiling. He's priced to the ceiling. Yeah.
He needs to be about $1,000 cheaper.
You ain't hitting your ceiling against Pittsburgh most of the time. That is not
exactly
to get ceiling games
right.
against. So
100%.
I mean, I'm not. You could, but it's not normally the team you're going to do that against. Jalen Hurts. The only thing holding him back has been Saquon Barkley's awesomeness, but it is a big holdback because Saquon Barkley has a shitload of awesomeness in him. Who knew?
I did. I was a Giants fan for years.
Yeah, and you saw him rotting away on that crapola team, never being able to really, truly.
Now he's got an offensive line.
Yeah, you know how happy I am for Saquon Barkley finally being on a real team that has red zone opportunities. Like, how many red zone opportunities do the Giants have in a season? Once or twice a month.
Yeah.
Not even every game. So such a great thing for Saquon. The backwards hurdle last week. Oh,
that was crazy.
So happy for him. He is living his best life. I just traded for that dude in Dynasty. 2 firsts. Happy to give him up.
Okay.
2 firsts, Josiah. Not 1. I doubled it up. I don't care. Give me. I don't even think he's got 3 years left on his career. I don't care. Rolling with it.
Go big or go home.
But Jalen Hurts, his monster game, he ran for 3 touchdowns last week, got the 35. But outside of the triple tush push game against Cincinnati, and by the way, last night's Cincinnati game.
Great.
Talk about offense. Feel sorry for anybody going up against Chase, Burrow, or any of those guys in redraft this week. You're done.
You just take the week off.
You're done. So of these 3, anyway, Jalen Hurts, a non-competitive matchup at Dallas, but they could style. You know what teams do like to style on Dallas, and put it, for some reason, of all the teams, Dallas is one of those teams that, the Eagles will just keep scoring on them. They'll put up a 57-0, and they'll be throwing it with taking a timeout, 2 minutes left, trying to get that last touchdown in.
Yeah, but Josiah's Carolina Panthers got a win this week. They got a 4th-round pick from Jerry Jones for Mingo.
That was a big one.
What the hell is Jerry Jones thinking?
Yeah. He's high on something. I don't know.
Well, Jesus Christ, he's awful.
Maybe they scouted him really well. Who knows?
Mingo was awful.
All those Dallas Cowboy fans, I feel bad for you guys.
Maybe next year he'll be better.
Next year things will be better. But so does anybody like any of these 3 as a prime play? If you look at the ownerships, they are definitely not projecting highly owned at all. It looks like Jaden is going to be the highest of the trio at almost 8% owned. So he'll be the chalkiest of the 3, which is weird for me. And then Josh Allen, who this one should be the highest, but he's to me, it should be Josh Allen.
I think it's Hurts. To me, it's Hurts. I just think here's the thing about Josh Allen is, at least the way that the offense is right now, he has such little wiggle room with points. Like James Cook. If James Cook scores 1 touchdown, Josh Allen isn't going to hit a ceiling this season. That's the way it's at. Whereas Jalen Hurts, he's got A.J. Brown. He's got Devonta Smith. He's got the big weapons where Saquon Barkley could score. We saw it last week. Saquon Barkley could score a touchdown and perform well. And, Jalen Hurts could still hit 30 points. So to me, I can't believe Jalen Hurts is so low owned. I mean, look, the Cowboys, who knows if they'll be able to score any points. I don't know that it matters. I just think Jalen Hurts in that offense, they're not afraid to keep rolling, especially over the Dallas Cowboys. So I like Hurtsy.
And he'll probably have a full complement of players too with him, with Dallas Goedert coming back. So
I think Cooper Rush might be better than Dak Prescott.
Oh no!
Oh Jesus in heaven!
Oh no!
I'm not saying long term. I'm saying this year. It's not like they've been doing anything with Dak. It can't get any worse for the Dallas. What are you telling me? You think this Dallas offense is going to be worse this week than it was last? How could it be any worse?
It was
terrible.
Get worse.
It's going to be so much worse.
No,
it's
it
going
was
to be.
so bad.
They're going to be way better. They got Jonathan Mingo now,
and now they have new weapons. You guys are dissing on Mingo.
New weapons. He's the worst wide receiver in the league by like every metric. It's crazy.
I'm just saying, how much worse could it get than what Dak was doing?
They gave up a 4th round pick for a guy that has 1 target and -1 yards this year.
Yeah, whose fault is that? Bryce Young. Well, we know.
No, that's Jerry Jones's fault.
I have Mingo in some dynasty leagues, so I have hope. I'm still holding him. 2nd round draft pick.
I told you Josiah had a good week.
Still hodling on him right now.
Cooper Rush stinks, but in fairness, he does have that 1 week every season where he looks competent, right? Maybe this is it for him.
He does.
He would need to be competent. My point is this: the only Hurts. How is he putting up a tournament winning score?
Because Nick Sirianni and every Eagles fan wants to beat the Cowboys 50-0. That's why.
They just want to style on them. There you go. Could be.
The Cowboys aren't going to score no points. Come on.
Yeah,
NFL.
Could be. So yeah, this trio though doesn't really stand out. The problem with Hurts also is it's not the easiest stack in the world. I stacked him up last week or 2 weeks ago with AJ Brown, and he goes and gets 3 tush-push touchdown. AJ Brown has a terrible game, and I'm like, man, this was a waste.
I think you just run him naked.
Yeah, this week all those rules go to the wayside, like the stacking stuff to me. Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen can both be.
Are we just going naked with these guys? Is that
absolutely?
By the way, I talked a little bit about like naked quarterback a couple weeks ago when that happened on the show, and then I got a lot of pushback that naked quarterback has not been winning tournaments, and I'm like, wait a second. Yes, it has. Naked quarterback has been this season a true storyline that has worked multiple times. Doesn't mean that actually won the tournament, but like what I'm saying is like Hurts or Allen have had games. A lot of these running quarterbacks have these games where you couldn't stack them. The stack didn't work. Lamar, multiple times. He's throwing touchdown, or we didn't play Kohler, like that week where Charlie Kohler gets to. Like Lamar Jackson has been the king of this. He's putting up monster scores, and you look around the team, and it's like, wait, no one did anything. How the hell did he score 40 today? And he's just doing his stuff and spreading it around. So that has worked quite a bit. And it worked last night, too. Somewhat.
Yeah, this pricey range is going to be a pass for me, man.
Okay. All right, so let's move down to the next zone here. And there's some chalk here. There's some unowned names that might be really, really interesting. So I kind of want to go around the room here. So let's start with the obvious first. Brock Purdy is correctly the chalk on this, or should be the chalk. I think he's the best play. And on a points per dollar basis, according to our projection model, he is very much the best play at quarterback this week. Mm-hmm. Does anybody sort of have a counterpoint to Brock Purdy? He's going to be too high? It's not going to be that high on. Is there any argument against Brock Purdy this week from you? Christian McCaffrey might come back. It's going to ruin him. What argument can we make against him, guys? Or none? No, we all love him. Do you guys like Brock this week?
Kind of the same argument for Jalen Hurts, except Brock Purdy has no rushing upside. It's a little bit hard to stack him sometimes.
Ooh. It's trickier.
I know. You've got Debo.
But he's not running.
CMC's back. You've got. So I just, to me, he'll throw. What's that guy that won you the tournament, Geek, the other day?
Ricky Pearsall. Yeah, let's go.
I mean, like, there's just a lot of guys. Debo can run one in. CMC can run one in. I don't know. Those are the reasons against. Nothing to say that he's not the best play on paper on the slate. Still, I think he probably is, but it's not a clear lock button for me by any means.
Yeah.
The thing I like about Purdy is that you can stack him in a lot of creative ways, and I do think his ownership will go up as we get closer to Sunday. But you can play Jennings, you can play Kittle with him, you can mix in CMC, who people are going to be nervous to play, and so I like getting weird with Purdy.
And what's wrong with Debo? That's his bike. You know what I'm saying? That's my bike, punk. Love Debo. He's healthy. Had a week off. Healed up all those injuries. Old guys. They give him that bye week coming out of it. Debo's always banged up. He's going to be feeling the best he's felt all year. I love the spot, but more importantly, just Tampa. It's the fact that it's Tampa will score. Their offense has been good. They don't even need Godwin or Evans out there. They figure it out with throwing it to Rashad White. They got, again, Cade Otton doing his thing. So I think that game can be more competitive than it looks on paper as well. That's the spot. The problem is everybody must know it, and that makes it less good. What about the other side of that game? Anybody interested in Baker? Big game. Baker's been tearing it up each week. That's tougher. Actually, it's not tough. You just pair him up with Cade Otton. No worries.
Yep.
Or maybe one of the cheapies that go along with them.
Yeah, I like Baker.
He's at home? No. Yeah.
I mean, the defensive matchup against the Niners is never something I'm overly excited about, but this game has the highest total on the slate. It makes the absolute most sense to have both sides to this game if you're MMEing. But Baker's not someone you want to play in like single entry or 3 max or anything like that. But for GPPs, he's fine.
I like it. I like the Baker side of it. I don't have a problem with it. And throw him right in there with Cade Otton. Cade Otton, 10 targets each of the last 3 weeks. The guy has been going beast mode. Who else in this range? Josiah, you got somebody else that I'm not thinking about here in this range that's popping for you? Mahomes and Kyler Murray against the Jets. Of course, Sam Darnold, the chalkiest guy on the slate.
Yeah, I mean, I love this range. This is where I'm spending the vast majority of my time. I have exposure to Patrick Mahomes. We talked about Purdy already. Kyler Murray, I am around field weight exposure on. I don't want to go crazy. The Jets defense is really good, but he has rushing upside, and so I just like to have exposure there in a pretty good game environment, especially if it can stay competitive. And I'll stop there, but I like this range a lot. I'm not playing Bo Nix, though.
Okay. BobbyWow, how about you?
Yeah, I think this range to me is a little ugly. I like Patrick Mahomes quite a bit. I think pretty much any defense except for the 85 Bears could come in to KC and Patrick Mahomes could put up a decent score against them. So I like that offense has been on the rise. Patrick has looked like Patrick, maybe for the first time in a year and a half, and that's something I want. So I like Mahomes quite a bit. The other guy I like quite a bit is Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson is being overlooked a little bit this week. He's got some rushing upside. He's below 6K, which is intriguing. And for whatever reason, he has that offense believing again and being an okay offense. So I'm going to be taking some shots on Russ.
Oh, man.
I can't do that.
Brutal options right there. Brutal. Burns, how about you?
I mean, I'm in the same boat. I'll have a lot of Purdy. I'll have a lot of Darnold. I mean, I'll be loading up with Darnold. Darnold has his full complement of players. He's now got TJ Hawkinson back. I'll get really interesting with stacks this week with him. I'll have Aaron Jones, who's in a fantastic matchup. I'll have him with Darnold. I'll have JJ. I'll have Addison. I don't know if I'll get to Naylor this week. I don't think you need him. There's reason why. I don't know. The 4K wide receivers are just weird this week, 4K and below. But yeah, I mean, Darnold's in an awesome spot. I probably will have a lot of Russell Wilson as well this week. He's in a very good spot from a metric standpoint. Washington's just been that team that's just, they got better though. They got better with Marshawn Lattimore. So I'll be interested to see how Marshawn Lattimore handles George Pickens, but the best primary stacking partner with Russell Wilson is definitely George Pickens.
I mean,
let's not forget about Mike Williams too, right?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
That guy always seems to rear his ugly head, but yeah.
Here's what happened with Mike Williams. The ball's up in the air. It's an Aaron Rodgers nice feather ball floating.
That ball stunk. We have that so mixed up. That ball is terrible.
And then what happened? He fell.
Criminally underthrown.
Really, bro? You fell?
I mean, I'll keep saying it. Washington's defense has been good this season, and they're getting better, like you said, with Lattimore. But even Daniel Jones, he got there last week with some fluky, weird stuff towards the end of the game, but he barely had any yards at halftime. Like, they've been shutting guys down. And so you can't convince me to play Russell Wilson this week. I refuse. Absolutely refuse. to do
Yeah,
that.
I'm not into it at all. I think the running game is how they're. I don't like these plays at all. I don't like Russell Wilson. Fuck Russell Wilson. He sucks. And
Okay, well, first off, who do you like then? Because
no,
you
I
can't
don't.
just
I
not
don't like anything.
everyone.
That's what I'm saying. None of them really stand out as outside of Purdy and Mayfield. It's a tough group. I do
Russell
like
Wilson scored 25 points against your Jets, one of the better defenses in the league,
I
2
remember.
weeks ago. So I think
it was painful. It was painful. It sucked.
Just saying,
Well,
the last time Sam Darnold scored 25 points this season was never either.
Yeah,
Just
well, that's
curious.
what I'm saying. I don't know that I love Darnold in a non-competitive environment against the Jaguars without any offense at all, and Mac Jones in there. So that's not appealing. Kyler Murray against the Jets, no, thank you. And then no, I don't like that at all.
And
so this whole
is just
zone,
better,
I mean,
though.
Mahomes play and Cousins, it takes you up to Mahomes and Cousins. And I don't normally play a lot of Mahomes in I haven't played him really much this year. Not much, a little bit. I think on the positive side, Mahomes, there's probably finally someone you could stack him with and feel good about it with Hopkins. So that kind of makes him more interesting for me. It's like, oh, okay, we can finally found someone we could stack him with.
Well, I mean, now that Lattimore's not going to play this weekend, I mean, it just makes a lot of sense to have Pickens in lineups. So I don't mind the Pickens to Wilson.
I think Bo Nix
Wilson
is
to Pickens.
playable. And as is Drake May. I think some of these other spots you can go to. I don't love it, but Bo Nix, listen, KC's really good defense, but they're better versus the run than the pass. What about Bo Nix? He runs around a little bit. He gets it done. Divisional rivalry? No,
not at 6K. If he was cheaper, I'll be down.
I wish he was a little cheaper, but I Drake May hasn't, he's been getting 20 plus most weeks, running for yardage. I wish that Bears defense was a little less good.
Yeah.
He's getting
and
20
then of course
most weeks. He's
what's that?
He's played 5 weeks. He got 20 points twice.
Wow,
I don't know. Drake May against the Bears defense.
He's getting 20s the last few weeks.
No
Hold
for
on.
me, dog.
Wait a minute. I don't accept it.
He had 18 and 11 the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, 18, 20, 22. I mean, they average out to 20 those 3 games. You got an average of 20.
Not even.
You're right. but this game, he got hurt. Hold on. We're holding it against him. He got hurt at the beginning of this game and just came in as an injury. He's only played 4 games, BobbyWow. You're being brutal. And only in one of them, he got hurt and had put up 11 points like in the first quarter against the Jets. Like, he's not, we can't, we're going to shit on this guy. Hold on. Ran for 95 yards last week. Ran for 46 yards in like the first quarter against the Jets. I mean, he's fine. He's not, this is a fantasy asset right here.
Yeah. At some point when he has a soft matchup again, we can play him. But until then,
yeah,
not going there.
That's fair. But we just don't have great matchups this week to target. So, all right, moving down the list here. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I like A-Rod.
It's not bad. I normally don't play Aaron Rodgers either. He does not have much of a ceiling. He's probably, I would say, almost impossible to envision an Aaron Rodgers 30-point performance.
I would love to see it.
When was the last time he scored above 20?
I can't. I could have been, as a part of the Packers
last week, and that was about it.
Yeah, it's been terrible. Now he had another 21-pointer. He had another 21er. He's had 2 of them. But
also, Devontae Adams just came back, so it's like 2 games in. So upside, a little bit higher.
I don't love it. He wasn't doing this with the Packers either. But it's a week of slight option. I don't love it. He didn't make my sheet, but just somebody. I thought Caleb Williams might. I actually think, and I will say it for BobbyWow.
Mm-hmm.
In tournaments, Caleb Williams is playable. They're going up against the Garbaggio Patriots defense. It is so bad. So bad. And especially with Chicago, when a team is not that good against the run, the Patriots are kind of worse versus the run than the pass this year. But I think that keeps the Chicago offense moving and getting first downs, which increases the chance of, Caleb having some plays around the goal line and maybe, throwing for a touchdown instead of handing the ball off for a touchdown. I very much like Swift in this game, but
Yeah, I like it. I'm playing Williams too, and I'm also stacking him with Swift because I can see that working out too. At that price tag, it's a solid play against a bad defense.
Yeah. We're in the next zone down here, guys. Sort of the cheaper QB zone. listen, it's a shorter slate. There's not that many games. And the pickings are slim here. It looks like the field kind of likes Justin Herbert coming off the big game, I guess. I don't really get it either. I don't really get it in the spot against Tennessee, any of it. I think it's just, hey, let's play a cheap guy and go for it. But BobbyWow, you said Cooper Rush.
No, I didn't say. No, that's not what I said.
Yeah, I heard you say the name, Cooper Rush.
I was not referring to playing him. I was just talking about you brought it up. You said he's better than Dak.
So okay. Oh, we're not playing Cooper Rush. Okay, good. Oh, but Mac Jones. Oh no, it was Mac Jones. All right. Let me find where the hell Mac Jones is on this list.
4,400.
He's all the way down to 4,400. Okay, well, that's already interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Mac Jones going up against what we all know is a pretty good Vikings defense. Make the case for me, Bobby.
Number one, he leads the league in completion percentage this season.
100%. That is a good thing.
No, I look, I think, Mac Jones stinks, right? I don't think he's very good, but I do think there's something about moving away from the shackles of the Patriots and kind of the pressure that he was under there. And he never really got a fair shot with the wide receiver options. I think we're looking at a free and easy Mac Jones, almost, likened to Sam Darnold getting out of New York. Mac Jones has nothing to lose here. He's coming in, slinging the football, against Vikings pass defense. That's actually really bad. And so I just think at 4,400, we've already kind of talked about the mediocrity from top to bottom on this slate.
Mm-hmm.
At 4,400, assuming the mediocrity holds true, really Mac Jones does not have to do much at all. And, he's got a couple of legitimate stacking options that could get it done for him. So it's easier to make the case for Mac Jones given the state of the slate that we see. But also, when you have guys like Brian Thomas and Evan Ingram, it makes things even easier. So to me, Mac Jones, I'm shocked he's not showing any ownership. Maybe that'll change once Trevor Lawrence is officially ruled out. But I actually kind of like Mac Jones a little bit.
Yeah, he's not. He's projecting yet, but he's not. Yeah, I think it's ownership hasn't caught up to that this guy is starting. He is projecting pretty well. I mean, yep. I got to give it to you, Bobby. All right, so let me put a caveat on that. Not financial advice. That's number one.
Not financial advice.
No, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. That's number one. Very important. Number two, I would say the Mac Jones play, that's probably not a cash play. That's probably something you want to reserve.
I wouldn't play him. No, absolutely not.
Yeah. Well, let's reserve that for big tournaments. And keeping in mind, when you do play somebody like that in a big tournament, if he's not getting you 20 and he gets you a 3, it doesn't matter. It's either the 20 or you weren't winning that tournament anyway. So don't win. Keep your wins to yourself.
I don't even know if it's 20 this week. It could be 15.
Yeah, 15, 16 would do it. And I'll say I'm with you, like I said, but he's probably going to be my second or third highest owned quarterback on the slate.
Okay.
Like, I have to.
Yep.
Burns, your take on the Mac Jones play?
Yeah, I guess.
Wow, that is not an enthusiastic endorsement, but that's okay.
There's been only one quarterback this entire season at $4,000 that has been in the top 20 million maker.
The rattlesnake?
No,
it was not him.
What? It wasn't the rattlesnake.
The Minshew.
There's also been no slates like this one yet this season too.
This is a unique slate. You got to be ready for it. You got to be ready for a change.
I'll stick. You're right, Burnsy. I'll stick in the 6 to 5K.
What about Flacco? We're just going to ignore Joe Cool.
Yeah, I mean he could be in play, I guess.
Michael Pittman's
already it's just a weird slate, quarterback wise.
I mean, we just went through the whole list, guy. This is the whole. There's no other people. Like we're talking about fucking Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr. You know what? I ignored Derek Carr. Let me ask you guys here. Is Derek Carr somebody that you guys are interested in this week? Am I crazy?
You didn't ignore him. You were very clear.
I purposely tried to skip him because I didn't even want to give you an opportunity to bury yourselves by saying yes to this. But is anybody looking to play Derek Carr?
Yes, I will have exposure to Derek Carr.
Yeah, from an on-paper perspective, metrically, he's in a good spot. So take that with what you want.
I'll have 5 to 10% exposure to Derek Carr.
Wow, What?
I thought about it, and it almost made sense to me too. But then I remembered he didn't have Olave anymore, and he doesn't have Rashid Shaheed, and so those numbers that look good aren't really that great. And we saw what he did last week against the Panthers defense that every other quarterback has been able to decimate, and he looked absolutely terrible.
That's true.
I can't do it.
Just when you think Derek Carr is going to have a big game, you look up and it's actually Taysom Hill at quarterback throwing for the touchdown. And you're like, holy shit, he finally threw for a touch. Nope, that's Taysom. Why did they bring Taysom in just to throw for a touchdown at the goal line? Like, wait, I thought Taysom ran it. No,
he's
he's
a
out there.
Taysom conspiracies now. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, new coach narrative, though. There is the new coach narrative that, could help
Nah.
Who knows?
New coach last week was his first week back from a big injury. I don't know.
You know what the new coach narrative didn't help? The Jets kept losing, missing field goals.
They're unsavable.
Now we're on the run. Much like my 7-2 fantasy team that has Chase Brown, not Chase Brown, that has Jamar Chase and Andrews on it, and this week is lock button going to put up a 250-point record score in that league because there's no chance of climbing back from the 7-2 deficit to possibly make the playoffs. So now that team is going to go bonkers. That's just how karma is. And I will be playing players from that team this week because I know it's going to happen. That's just a little info, a little update on what my cheat sheet is looking like this week. It's looking like
give you the silly for the millie.
What's that?
Yeah, I'll give you the silly for the millie this week. Is outside of Mac Jones stacks, it's going to be Carr paired with Juwan Johnson and a little tea time with Tipton.
Gross, disgusting, but it could be right. I'll miss the millie.
I just want to see you get grossed out on that.
It makes me so angry.
Angry.
I don't really know which way to go here. So it's going to be an interesting one.
A lot of people asking about Kyler, so maybe we should dive into that really quick before we move on.
Yeah, are we? I don't like Kyler at all this week. I don't like Kyler ever, but definitely not this week against the Jets, who are much better attacked via the run. But BobbyWow, do you have a different take on it?
No, I mean Kyler scored 5.8 points last week and didn't get injured.
Yeah, he played the whole game and put up a 5.
I think that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll play Kyler, though. I just like his rushing upside. We know he can get there, and especially pairing him and stacking him with Marvin Harrison Jr. Again, the matchup is brutal, but low ownership, gross slate. We've seen him do it before, and so I trust him a little bit more than some of these other guys.
In all seriousness, I agree with that take, too. Yeah, he's mobile. We've seen crazier things happen. Certainly not as crazy as like Mac Jones coming in and lighting up the slate.
Yeah.
So
High total game, close spread. I mean, yeah, it makes sense for me.
Hell no, to the no.
No. I picked up Daniel Jones and threw Kyler Murray on the bench in one of my season redraft teams.
So sad.
I sat Kyler for Aaron Rodgers this past week. And
there you go. Yeah, that was a brilliant move. I'm rolling Danny Dimes out there over Murray. I've already made the decision. There's no turning back on it. I can't start
get it
playing
this week, but
yeah, I'm rolling out Dimes.
No,
we can't do this. All right, guys, let's. Motown says I'd rather play Cooper Rush than Kyler Murray at this point.
He's got the 1 week.
Yeah,
maybe it's this one.
There it is.
Am I making that up? Doesn't Cooper Rush come in and have like one solid week over the last couple weeks?
That's what's going to happen.
At least in the preseason. I don't know about regular.
I'm telling you, I think Cooper Rush might be better than Dak this year. I'm not talking Dak's career. I'm talking 2024 Dak stinks. Dak. I don't know what's going on with that guy. I was so excited about the Cowboys offense this year coming in. I was like, they're going to crush it.
That's why I think it's going to be the week of the higher price salaried quarterbacks. All these other
that might be
guys are just whatever. And
Burns, how funny would it be?
That's why I'll have ownership in Allen and Hurts this week.
And Jaden. At this point, and Jaden. We got to add them all because you know what? We're going to be sitting here on Monday. Like all these turd quarterbacks did turdly things exactly as you would expect them to do.
Yeah.
And we're like, wow, Josh Allen went off for 35 points. Or why didn't we play Jalen Hurts against a shitty defense? What are we thinking? Why did we play all these turds? Naked? Can we just get I I think you're onto something.
It's the one thing I refuse to do on these weeks is play the chalk. That is the only thing I refuse to do. And that's why Jaden Daniels is out for me. That's why Sam Darnold's out for me. No stinking way am I playing chalk on gross week.
I'm with you on Jaden, yeah.
And Darnold, I'm fine with that as long as it didn't even extend to Purdy, who should be the chalk and isn't.
Purdy too.
All right,
more of a bias, personal bias thing though. So
I wanted WoW permission to play Purdy, and it didn't. All right, guys, you're watching the DFS. Say this again, guys. You're watching the DFS Army YouTube channel, and this is Tournament Tactics. Make sure to hit the like button, smash that subscribe. We are approaching 30,000 subscribers here on the DFS Army YouTube channel. Help us get over the hump. Let's go. We'll throw a party when we hit the 30K. I'm going to throw a free roll for everybody. Put some swag in it. Help us get to 30K subscribers here on the channel. Put some swag in it. And of course, if you want to check out DFS Army, we encourage you to go to dfsarmy.com. You get the optimizer, the domination station. You see that on screen here. The research station. We've added player prop projections in the research station so you can see the props next to the player, the prop projections, all kind of cool stuff like that. We are constantly innovating here at DFS Army, and people are winning. Members are winning. Look at what's going on in the chat. Literally in this chat here in the last 10 minutes, we've had 5 or 6 different people say, hey, I won. I took a tournament down last night. I took one down last week. The Dom Station helped me cash in a showdown. DFS Army is where you want to go to be part of the best DFS community out there. So we appreciate you. Come check it out. Promo code GEEK, 10% off any one of the subscriptions on DFS Army, VIP, NFL only, NBA going strong. We have it all going. So let's move on to the running back position, NFL Week 10. And I'm going to sort by ownership. There he is. Hell yeah, Ricky Lee. What's up? What's up? Let's go. Sorting by ownership. And once again, we have another. Hello, huzzah! I need an alarm, like we got to send something like a little celebration for the winners. I love it. I love seeing it. Everybody in my DMs winning multipliers. It's spectacular. All right, so we do have some chalk being created here in the running back spot. Aaron Jones in a great spot, by the way. Acceptable, understandable chalk. Kamara coming off of what? 35 touches? This guy, 27. It was an insane number. How many touches did Kamara have last week? 35? 27? It was something crazy. Breece Hall has been pretty good this year. He's chalky. Bijan, Swift, and then Connor. I like all the chalk. I think they're all good chalk. I don't know what to do with this one. BobbyWow, it's all good chalk. What do you do in that situation? Just fade it anyway? YOLO.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I agree it's all good chalk necessarily. I think Aaron Jones has proven that he's never truly good chalk. But I do think this is a week where you can eat a decent amount of the running back chalk and still be unique enough on the other side. So I don't hate it. Like, for Alvin Kamara, for example, I think you could eat that chalk and be okay.
Burns, all these guys match the criterion of the Shark Lab in terms of, I know that chalky running backs are fine for the most part.
Yeah, they are, but Alvin Kamara is not one of them. He's actually bad chalk. Metrically, he stands out as being extremely bad chalk. He is going up against the defense that is 12th ranked against in the running back and fantasy points allowed, and he's at 8,200. And he's at 25% ownership right now. To me, that's bad chalk. James Conner, bad chalk. Talked about this on the Shark Lab last night. This is extremely bad chalk. New York Jets are 9th ranked in fantasy points against the position. Why would I ever want to have 20% of James Conner against a top 10 defense? Same with Alvin Kamara. I mean, I get it. Alvin Kamara had an awesome week last week. He's not going to be a part of my. He's not a part of my player portfolio this week.
I love it.
This is like these guys. This is what I was talking about earlier when I said there's some bad chalk on this on this slate. And when we get to wide receivers, it's even worse. Like, you got guys that shouldn't be, they're going up against shutdown corners that are like 17, 18% ownership. Why? And it's just bad. Like, I can't get behind Alvin Kamara chalk this week. I can't get behind James Conner either. Now I can get behind Aaron Jones. This is chalk you should be eating this week.
So
this guy,
you are on the Jones train.
Oh yeah, this guy is metrically one of the best plays on the entire slate.
Okay.
Minnesota is going up against Jacksonville, and Jacksonville is 30th ranked in the NFL in fantasy points against the position. They are 27th ranked against pass catching running backs. Aaron Jones is a premier pass catching running back in the NFL. The only downfall is that the defensive line is in the top 10 rank that he's going up against, but it's Jacksonville. I'm not really worried about that per se. Aaron Jones is in a great matchup here. The only way they fail is if they go more towards passing in this game, and even then he could still get the passing down situation. And there's a lot of other spots in the 6K range that are actually pretty good. In the 7K range, I mean, there's some guys that are in the 7K range that are really good this week. James Cook, he's in an awesome spot this week. J.K. Dobbins, not so much. He's in a fairly good matchup, but it's still a better matchup than Alvin Kamara and James Conner, who are probably double his ownership, if not triple. So, I'm not going there with these two guys this week.
Didn't Aaron Jones fail as the chalk last week in the same exact spot?
He wasn't on the team. He wasn't on the main slate last week.
He did fail on a showdown.
But I want to say he's on the FanDuel main slate, and he certainly flopped the chalk last week in a very similar matchup. I think just to speak to Kamara, if I could just respond for 2 seconds on that one. I think the difference for me with Kamara is, number one, they played this Atlanta team earlier this season, and Kamara had almost 30 touches and scored 25 points. Now we're looking at a Saints team that has nobody left. He's the only guy. You got 35 touches last week. I think it's going to be the story. That's the story of the rest of the season. So, they played Atlanta week 4. He looked respectable. He didn't get there. He didn't hit his ceiling per se, but 25 points is 25 points. And now they've got no one else to throw to. To get the ball to. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at on him.
Similar type situation to that week. 9 targets. It took a lot to get him over the hump. It's going to take that 9 targets.
It takes a lot. It does. That's the difference, though.
The devil's advocate on the negative side here for Kamara, and I will just devil's advocate it because,
do it.
We want running backs who are favored, and this is not a guy who's favored. The minute you start taking running backs in games where their teams can get blown out, you will get blown out of your money. Like, it's a less safe play to me. If you remember a few weeks back, there was a super chalky, like, Kamara showdown. I don't remember when it was, but
he flopped.
It was like at KC or one of these, and it was like he put up a 12, and it was like, he ruined you.
Let me add to that. I'll add to that. So I released the Millie Maker article, right? And this week for DFS Army members, out of 460 running backs that were researched across 20 lineups, the top 20 lineups over the last 9 weeks. So there were 181 lineups that were researched. We had a tie at 20th place in week 3. So that added 1 lineup. How many of the 460 running backs of home underdogs were utilized in the top 20 Millie Maker lineups? 31.
0. How many?
31.
31.
So you're looking at 20% or less of the
That's
time 10%. Across 9 weeks. That's very, very bad.
That's
you're not even. If you're going with this guy, you better be damn freaking sure this guy's going to pay off at 8,100, 8,200, and he's not. He's going to falter this week.
To the people, everyone's bringing Taysom too. Guys, Taysom vultured from Kamara last week, and he still scored over 30 points. So
it was a different game last week. Like, I don't know if they're even going to be in this game. I think Atlanta can style on them. Their defense is very porous now. They got rid of Marshawn Lattimore. This isn't going to be a game where It's not going to be a close game. Let's just put it that way.
I just discovered something terrible about Kamara.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming, Josiah. He has one of those septum nose ring things.
He's had it for years.
Unacceptable. This is just completely unacceptable. That's all I have to say.
And I think I'm always on. I think Burns brings up a lot of good points, and a chalky 81K guy in not a great spot on paper. Definitely. I don't want to advocate for that person, but I just do like Kamara a little bit more this week. Like I'm just surprised that we like Breece Hall and Aaron Jones, who have failed chalk multiple weeks in a row now.
Yeah,
it's just kind of funny,
Everybody skipped over Breece Hall chalk. Like that is the scariest chalk of all. What? Hey, Breece Hall has been good. By the way, I don't want to Jets. First of all, second of all, Breece Hall has been pretty good this year. I thought it was worse when I looked at his. So when I was doing this, I'm like, this guy again. We're gonna make him chalk again after he burned us. But actually, you take out the last couple weeks, and he had a couple of good games there. There's a 24 in there. There's a couple.
There's some really gross games in there too.
Terrible. The floor is horrific. The volume has been kind of there, but not as. So the biggest problem for me with Breece Hall is this: when I'm paying $7,600 for a running back, I would like to see 25 touches as a real likelihood. If you look at Bijan, who is basically Breece Hall, also, they're like the same guy in a lot of senses. They do it all. If you look at Bijan, though, I thought his volume would be lower, but actually, when I looked at it, Bijan is the guy. There's 25, right? Here's 20, 24. All right, 18. So at least since the new coaching situation or whatever the hell happened in Atlanta, you are seeing Bijan get the 20 plus looks. We need about 25 to feel comfortable with a 7K plus running back, because if not, you end up with Breece Hall, which is this guy who gets 18 touches, or Jahmyr Gibbs is a better example. You're going to get 16 to 18. The spike games are going to come, but the floor is super low and very, very scary because, there's no floor to these guys. It's just not enough touches to always get there. So he's got to be hyper efficient. So I think they're all scary chalk. If you had to choose between, and again, we're spending a lot of time on this sort of group of running backs, but if you had to choose between this whole group, Kamara, Hall, Bijan, the high ownership in Jones, or I'll just even at the price level, let's say these three expensive guys, Kamara, Hall, or Bijan.
Bijan.
Which one is it? And why is the correct answer Saquon Barkley?
You didn't count him in there.
Why doesn't anybody want to play Saquon? Why is he low owned? It's not that much more expensive. He's the same price as Kamara. Wouldn't it be smart just to play Saquon for cheap for a sub 10% ownership?
You should definitely have Saquon exposure. Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
He's got the best matchup. He's coming off the reverse hurdle week. Like the momentum is there.
That's the thing, though, is I think you could play you should have Saquon exposure. You should have CMC exposure this week. Absolutely, 100%. Right?
Shouldn't we just do that instead of
if you're looking at even Bijan? Like Bijan's a guy that has yet to surpass 25 fantasy points this season, guys. The touches are there, yes, but he's going to be a couple $100 cheaper than Kamara, and we're really going to fight for Bijan, a guy who's not scoring that many fantasy points. I don't think anyone is safe per se up here. I think Kamara is my favorite of the chalk, but again, I think you should be mixing these guys in quite a bit, especially at the top of the range here.
That's why we got to live in the 6K range. I mean,
I've got a Burns special for you right here.
And I want to hear the Burns specials too. I'm pumped.
Burns is going to love
fire this week.
It's not sneaky. It's nothing special. It's not that special. It's not really sneaky, but Burns will love this play. Because I know Burns. I'm in the mind of Burns. I'm in there. I read the book. I feel like we're hanging out, just having conversations. Me and Burns hang out and have conversations. He's not even there.
Yeah, we talk about linear algebra and matrix algebra all the time.
All advanced statistics.
Maybe that's why Burns is tired today. He's having conversations with you, and he didn't even know it.
In my head, it's in the book. I'm just reading the book, and
you should hear our conversations when it surrounds NHL.
You're the voice. No, when you start talking NHL, my brain literally shuts off. I don't even hear the words.
We go into 3D math.
You're like, Kevin is he's staring so he's listening so intently, and actually I'm just reading an article, but on the screen. DeAndre Swift has got to be a Burns play this week. Just such
Absolutely,
a
100%.
terrible rush defense that he's facing. The metrics are spectacular on D-Swizz. This has got to be at the top of the list for you, Burns, no?
Oh, absolutely. He's
fucking
right
love
up there with Aaron Jones, and actually the running back in the opposite side of the field is actually in play too, Ramondre. So, yeah.
I don't know about the Dre here.
I had to tell you about Ramondre last week, guys. The last 2 weeks.
That call on Ramondre, for all of you guys like Ramondre last week, can we give these guys props? I was not on Ramondre at
I
all.
wasn't either.
And Josiah, both BobbyWow and Burns were talking up Ramondre, and I was almost making a little, really? And that dude smashed it last week. He did really, really well. So great call on the Dre. No, I like Swift here, but who else? So let's scroll our way down here. I scaled it by ownership rather than by cost, but I'm gonna kind of like give my quick takes on some of these guys, and I want like some reactions, right? So we talk about we talk about Swift. I think we all agree we love Swift this week. Josiah, you're on board.
Yeah, Swift is good.
I don't like Connor. I don't think that's a good spot for Connor. Connor losing touches.
Agreed.
To Trey Benson did not make me happy last. I was watching the highlights, the NFL highlights, and I'm like, why is Trey Benson in there so much? Benson got like 9 carries in that one. I didn't like that at all. CMC coming back from injury, not owned. Do we think let's just jump on board that thing before? Don't even let the bandwagon leave the building. You got to be on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he's playing, I assume he's healthy. So I'm playing him at 8K. Yeah. No reason not to.
Yeah. So a little CM sizzles. I don't like Jonathan Taylor as a massive underdog, even in an acceptable matchup. Any disagreements there?
He's a home underdog.
Home dogs are no good. Guys,
He's showing up in my lines. I mean, one thing I'll just say on this whole subject is just, for me, I don't really try and get too cute at running back. I usually just eat the chalk at the running back position. Y'all have brought up some good points, so I am going to cap my exposures a little bit lower than I normally would. But yeah, like even Jonathan Taylor, he's showing up in some of my lines, and I'm not going to go out of my way to take him out.
It's a sticky note. I just prepared it.
Joe Flacco should make him better. That wasn't the case last week.
This is going on my computer screen. Home dog RB bad. Put it on a sticky note to always remember that. Home dog running back. I don't like any underdog running backs, but home dog. This is something we talked about in our offseason Millie Maker discussion, Burns. That like the home dog is the worst of the dogs.
They are. Yep.
Yeah. So home dog RB bad. Saquon Barkley on the road, yes. Najee Harris, almost always a no. No Najee for me. No
He's
Najee
splitting with Jalen now.
Almost always a no for sure. Maybe always a no.
Najee's always a no.
And he's splitting with Jalen, which makes it even worse.
Even when Jalen was out, Najee was a no. Najee's a no. No Najee. But I have a feeling we like James Cook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again, going up against that not so
Burns
great.
likes him. I like him. That's all I got to say about Cook.
Cook, I wrote up my notes on Cook this week and it went like this. Cook is either winning you a tournament this season or he's ruining your lineup. There's no in between.
So true.
He already has.
Yeah, he's won us some tournaments and he's ruined a lot of lineup. Like there's no in between with this guy because the touchdowns are just sometimes they come in bunches and sometimes they don't come for whole months. It's
pretty sure he was 2 or 3% on when Burns called him 2 weeks ago and he smashed in one
That was
tournament.
spectacular.
That's crazy.
I do tend to, this is not a guy I want to have that much exposure to, but I did play some of him that week and my best lineups were the James Cook lineup. So thank you for that. Good call, Burns.
You're welcome. And I'll just put it out there. If you're not interested in playing James Conner or James Cook, not Connor, on the Satsational model, Indianapolis is the 3rd worst defense. No, go to the other one.
No, do you think
they're the 3rd worst defense against the run? So
they are bleeding. Yeah, they are bleeding fantasy points to the running back position or yardage to opposing running backs.
The only ones that are worse is Carolina and New England. So
here, let me bring up the proper screen so people. These is just really cool tools, guys. Again, this is kind of like the suite of tools we have at DFS Army and Sharp app. They are.
And Carolina's not on the slate, nor are the Giants. So I'll just take them off because they're on that 9 a.m. slate.
You look at defensive rushing. The red teams are the worst teams versus the run. So we'll go find ourselves some Colts. And
look, there's
22.
Washington.
It's really bad.
Yeah, so they're pretty bad. And then if you take out the Giants,
But you know who's worse than them? Wait, you know who's worse
New
than them?
England.
New England.
The Patriots.
So I didn't take out Carolina. So they're the second worst defense against the run on the slate.
Yeah. Pay attention to Washington. Not
Yeah.
very good against the run.
And also, Najee Harris has not been bad this season. The last few games, he's been putting up 19-point fantasy upside. He's a player I do want exposure to. I have a bias. He's burned me so much in the past, but he's been good, and I can't deny what I see on the field. It's there.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Last 3 weeks, you can't deny it. It's been pretty good, but Warren came back and that
Makes me so mad when Josiah says that because he's right, and I have to not.
You have to rethink it.
Yeah, I hate it.
I don't like it either.
Yeah, it's tough.
Najee.
We did skip somebody though, I think. In that
Matt's
list.
asking, I think you're Matt. Your cash quarterback is Brock Purdy. It's not even close. That is your cash quarterback this week. You are playing Brock Purdy in cash. That will help. So you should be playing Brock Purdy. What were you talking about? Okay, so we're still talking running backs. Kareem Hunt, tougher
There we go.
matchup.
That's the guy.
Kareem?
Yeah, I think Kareem's in play. You know, he had a bad week last week and still scored 20 points. Like this dude, the volume in that Kansas City offense is too much. He scored 22 points.
The
volume is too much to ignore.
They gave him 35 carries. They're not always
27 carries. Yeah. He's getting a lot of touches. I just at that price.
You know what the negative is with the Kareem BobbyWow?
Talk to me. Yeah.
He does not. They just don't throw to him. It's really one reception.
That is. Yeah.
You need it all to come from. It has to all come via the run, and yeah, he can get it done. But it's yardage and touchdowns. You need 100. You need a touchdown, and you'll get.
Surprising. Wasn't Kareem like a pass catcher in previous roles before? Am I making that up?
He can catch a pass. They just don't throw it to him. He knows how to catch the ball. And by the way, that can change.
Usually do throw to running backs too.
He can catch a pass. I think they just don't. And I don't know why. It's like he's not in the game. Samaje Perine in there. I don't know, but they don't throw to him that much.
Good point.
So with that being said, guys, there's a couple other names here. I want to shit on some names, but there's a couple other names. I like. You got to give you the negatives. Like I'm not playing Javonte Williams against KC. No, right? I'm not into Tony Pollard against the Chargers on the road as a massive underdog. That's not something I'm going to do.
No.
I don't want it. I think Rico Dowdle might be a playable though. I think it's not a great home. It breaks the Burns rule of home underdog, and that's
Eddie's going up against the 4th ranked defense against the running back position in
also
fantasy
bad.
points against. So
also bad. Both.
Did he whisper sweet nothings in your ear a couple weeks ago, Geek? I feel like you've really liked Rico Dowdle more than anyone I've heard ever anywhere.
I do, yeah, because people have not figured out that this is the starting running back. Like, it's a less good now. Like, I've been on him because I noticed that Dallas has accepted him as the main guy, and meanwhile, the perception of him was he's this sort of Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne half share guy with Zeke Elliott. But that has not been what he was for most of this year, and as the season had wound along, he was getting more and more touches. And so I'm like, I think I'm onto a guy here who no one has figured out is the actual workhorse running back for his team, which he is.
You were right. And you were right last week too, by the way. I wasn't.
Yeah, he put up good numbers.
How can you?
Yeah, I get. I know. So yeah, I mean, he's put up good numbers. But what impressed? I don't know if a guy's going to have a good game. We don't fucking know. But 6 targets, 5 receptions, 6 targets, 5 receptions. So he can catch a pass. And then when the game is competitive, he can put up a decent score. The problem is, and last week I loved him, and it worked out acceptable.
He was way cheaper last week too. You nailed it. Yep.
Yeah, he was a little, but now it's Cooper Rush, and now it's better defense that they're facing. It's not as good of a spot, but it was a nice little storyline for a minute. My best week, and by the way, BobbyWow, it was that week he was 6K on FanDuel, and it was much more of a FanDuel
last week. Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. Was it last week or the week before? But with the Chase Brown
last week.
Dowdle. Oh, it was last week. bro. I don't. You know what? This.
It all merges.
By the way, let me just clue you guys in, audience, on what it's like to do the football season and doing the content. I've blinked my eyes, man. It was like week 1. It's week 10. I don't even know where the time is going. It flies by, and I can't remember this week versus last week. You're up all night. Like, it is a marathon. I feel like this is the nerd version of working on a lobster boat out in you know, you're on a crabbing ship out in Alaska, and you work for 3 months out of the year, and you're like, don't sleep for 3 months, 4 months nonstop, make all the money for the year, and then like the rest of the year, you're like, all right, I don't do anything now. No love for the crab boat reference. Throwing traps down. You guys don't watch Alaskan whatever that show is with the crabs. Cool. What's it called? No, you don't watch the show about the Alaska crabbing where they throw the cave. They take these boats out in the Bering Sea and just like death defying conditions, freezing their asses off. That's some real work shit, man.
I need someone in the chat to Photoshop Geek on his computer in one of those boats.
I wouldn't last 5 minutes on a crabbing ship.
There you go, deadliest catch.
I wouldn't make it out of the. I wouldn't make it out of the freaking out of the dock. I'd be like, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm out. I'm done. Not 5. I wouldn't make it 5 minutes on a crabbing boat. Those people are so tough. I watch those shows not because I fantasize going out on a crabbing boat, because I've got the whole time I think, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Are they crazy? What are they doing on this boat? It must be freezing right now. They got to be so cold and wet. It's cold and wet, and you're nauseous from the boat going up and down. What? It was bad enough that it was cold and wet, but I'm also throwing up off the edge of the ship. I would be helicoptered off of that ship. Emergency. The National Guard would be out there helicoptering me off the ship. Not 5 minutes into the journey, they'd be like, "This guy is. We got to get him out. Get him out." Not a crabber. BobbyWow, could you see me? Like, they have to airlift me in that basket thing. I'm like, just take me out of here.
That's the Photoshop picture we need right there.
It's so good. Lock button. All right. Any other running backs? Do we want anybody sub 5K? So I had a hard time finding a single running back under 6K this week that I'm interested in. Bobby, you have someone, you just pointed your finger up.
I have one. And it's not, look, this is a 5%er. You know, you're trying to just save super salary for some studly studs. Gosh dang it. It's my team too. I can be a homer. And Roshan Johnson. I think Roshan, you know, Khalil Herbert's gone. Roshan is the only guy that seems to be able to punch the ball into the end zone for the Bears. And, you know, he significantly upticked his snaps last week. Now that Herbert's gone, I think he's the clear WR2. He was on the field for 40% of the snaps. And again, he's just, for whatever reason, seems to be the touchdown guy near the goal line. And so, you know, I just think, you know, you could do worse than punting with Roshan Johnson in a couple of your MME lineups if you're trying to just save a bunch of salary for some super studs. So it's going to look ugly. The book is going to look ugly. You're going to vomit.
I don't like to call them one bit. I hate this play. So
great matchup against the New England Patriots, and we've seen these backup running backs vulture the guys we love on slates. So having 5% is not going to kill you. I like it.
I don't like it one bit.
Fair enough.
I would rather go for Chris Rodriguez.
Oh God,
Jesus in heaven!
Chris Rodriguez Jr. stepping in for Brian Robinson. No, I don't like any of these.
No, I was like, even you don't believe that.
No. I don't like any of that shit. That's a bad spot. We got to save money elsewhere, BobbyWow. At 4,300, we might be able to find a starting wide receiver. Let's do that instead of the running back.
But I will have 5%. I just wanted to tell you that's the one guy I'll have 5%.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. I think we're moving on from running backs, unless there are any thoughts or names that we did not mention or cover. Anybody? All right, guys at home, who is your oh wait, there it is. Guys, who is your running back combination for NFL Week 10? Let us know in the comments. Are you eating that chalk with Aaron Jones and Bijan, Breece Hall? Are we getting off the chalk, getting a little crazy? Let us know in the comments section. We always enjoy. I read every comment except the negative ones. I ignore the negative comments, guys. I'm just leaving a heads up. I don't read
Just
those.
read them. You internalize the negative ones.
I do
like me.
internalize them. Dixon Carter says the Algerian. He wants to go for the Algerian. How about the Algerian? That week we mentioned him and he went off for 20 fantasy points, by the way. No one credited that one. We just pretended like it didn't happen. Like a nickname wasn't invented the week of a 20-point explosion. We're just ignoring it.
And I think that's a great comparison. I mean, we played Algier when he was facing a really bad Panthers defense. You can play a backup running back against a really bad New England defense. Great comparison.
Playing Roshan.
Thanks, Josiah. You didn't have to do that, Josiah.
That's not
Thank you.
happening. Watch Swift get hurt and Roshan come in and light up the slate for a score that you needed in order to even sniff the tournament winner. And Bobby Millions will be Bobby Millions once again.
But I don't want that. I don't even want that.
Yeah, he would be upset, but counting the millies, counting the $1,000 bills. Achan is not on the slate, Ricky Lee. That seems like cheating. He's not on the slate.
I will say another good week to play FanDuel because you have one of the better games. It's the Sunday night football game.
What is the Sunday nighter on FanDuel?
It is the Lions and Texans.
Oh, that is fun.
Just comparatively to the rest of this, what we just discussed.
That's a nice game. I said it at the beginning of the week in the first look. I was like, this is the week where all of a sudden all the primetime games are spectacular, and the main slate left us with a bunch of garbage. Like, what? I think Monday night is an awesome game too. All the primetime games are really, really great, and of course I would say what last night, the Thursday night football game, was the biggest offensive explosion on a single game this entire season. That was the first, like, I wish I would have game stacked that on a main slate game because everybody went bananas. Even Tim,
like a nice reminder.
What's that?
This is what I love about football. Like just seeing offense, having a close game, just a good game environment. Loved it.
We need more
and also
scoring.
What we hate about the NFL where Joe Burrow got mauled on the last play and they didn't call it.
You know,
come on.
That was so wrong.
That's a piece.
I can't believe they lost.
There were like
game.
6 penalties on that play, and they didn't call a single one of them.
The missed 2-point conversion. What did you guys think of that? So not the miss, but so much going for it. 2.
I like
you have to in Baltimore. You have to in Baltimore.
Yeah, everybody agree because we all thought Todd Bowles was kind of a puss for not going for 2 in that game. In that, I don't remember. Now I'm starting to lose track of which game was when, but Todd Bowles was
last week.
Yeah, that one. And so then last night going for the 2, the right call.
Go to win.
You saw it in Baker's face when Patty Mahomes won the toss. That was great.
He was like, oh no.
You know it was over.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about wide receivers. Let's go to the Domination Station Optimizer, available to DFS Army subscribers. Promo code Geek, 10% off at DFS Army. I actually think the VIP 50 might actually still be valid, by the way. I don't know if I'm supposed to promote it, but I'm pretty sure that VIP 50, that 50% off thing for DFS Army VIP probably still works. Josiah, you're making the face like you know it. Like you almost like know it works. You have
I've heard some rumors.
You have a knowing nod over there. I think it might still be active too. Let's start at the top here, guys. Michael Pittman out this week, which makes Josh Downs really interesting. Josh Downs showing chalky. DeAndre Hopkins, we talked about him a little earlier. Devontae Adams out of nowhere as the chalk. I'd rather play Garrett Wilson, but whatever. Lad McConkey getting priced up all of a sudden. Anything from anybody in terms of the ownership here? And this is no one's super chalky, by the way. They're all starting under 20%. But does anything stand out here as something you wouldn't do? And then we'll just do stud, medium, dud like our normal way. But just quick thoughts on the overall outlook of the wide receiver spot. Burns, what do you say?
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins going up against Patrick Surtain.
Will
17% ownership.
Is that lock button that Surtain will be on him?
He's a shadow. Yeah.
He's going to shadow Hopkins, not like Xavier Worthy or something.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
That is a no-go.
All right. If that's
didn't someone torch Surtain last week?
I would know. I'd rather not play the odds on that one.
Who just whomped on the Broncos? Who scored 41 points? Am I making that up? I feel like I'm in a different world today, guys. I don't know. There's a lot of craziness going on. My head is not in the right
Talking about
spot.
Jamar Chase last night.
The Broncos gave it 41 points last week, I thought.
Oh, it was Flowers? Was it Flowers?
They probably.
Yeah, it was Zay.
Wouldn't he have been shadowing Zay too? Or no?
Well, I wrote up in my notes about Hopkins that I needed to ask Burns about Surtain.
Yeah, he's gonna shadow Hopkins.
That's brutal. Yeah, that's tough chalk.
Yeah, I mean, I loved, on the flip side, I think we should all acknowledge that DeAndre Hopkins slid into the Rashee Rice role last week, and that's exciting. But it's not a good scene if he's going to be covered. I love that we have a troll that's always here.
Is that Jaws from ESPN? The old
Jaws?
Yeah,
it's Jaws. He's always here. He's always got a trolly thing to say.
I have something as well. Justin Jefferson. When are we just going to admit that maybe he's not the ceiling guy with Sam Darnold that we thought? I mean, look, we talked about how terrible Kamara was as a play at 8K, for scoring 30 points last week. Justin Jefferson hasn't sniffed 30 points this season, and he's 8,800.
He's been so consistent. He's been so close.
Consistently mediocre.
I mean, that's not mediocre. That's really good. But they're slapping a 9K on him. You need a 36. Like, that's a lot to ask for anybody.
At the price. That's what I meant. Okay,
yeah,
that's what I meant. That's true. I was not fair.
Spectacular. But you're right. He's definitely not paying off, or he has not been worthy of a 9K price tag. He's almost a floor play. Like, you almost play him in your cash line.
He's cash. Yeah, he's a cash play for sure.
Going to get you 20. But he needs... It's important to always look at the salary and say Justin Jefferson needs 36 fantasy points to beat us. It's funny, BobbyWow, we were talking about Jamar Chase yesterday on the Showdown Breakdown. And what did we say?
So piping him full of, we said, look, this is the one guy that has a 40-point ceiling that's actually showed the upside this season.
Yeah, we said of all of these guys, it is Jamar Chase that puts up the 40 plus. There was no one else that could, and of course he had his best game. He had I saw something on Twitter. I don't know who posted it, so sorry. But where Chase had the 8th best ever fantasy performance of any player in the history of the NFL. And that goes all the way back. Like what's his name? Jerry Rice was on the list, even though that was pre-fantasy football. Like, they went all the way back in the stats and added up every game ever. And that game was like number 8 best ever for a player in terms of fantasy points.
And I think my thought was meant to be a question to the group of like, is this just who JJ is with Sam Darnold, or is the 35, 40-point game inevitable still? Like, as he's the chalk at 9K. He's
been so close. He put up 25 last week without a touchdown. He put up 22 the week before.
That's the knock. That is the knock. Sam Darnold doesn't throw that many touchdown passes.
But he will. That game will come where he gets the 2 touchdowns and he'll get you 40 points. It's just a matter of when it's coming. I would not judge. I would not hold this against him. Statistically, the volume has kind of been there. Everything's there. The recipe is in place. It's just he's got to get the touchdown. Like, in this game, he was like stopped at the 1-yard line. Like, that's happened a lot this year. That's not going to keep happening.
In a vacuum, you need 29 points to win your fantasy championship. You can choose either JJ or Kamara this week. Who are you picking?
JJ.
That's what I needed to hear.
What about the rest? Let's all answer that. And you guys at home, that's a great question. In a vacuum,
it's Kamara for me.
Kamara for you,
clearly, but that's been clear over the course.
Yeah. There you go. So, you need 30 points to win your championship, PPR points. Would you play Jefferson or Kamara this week? Kamara's cheaper than Jefferson, so if you believe that, you should definitely be playing Kamara over Jefferson. Jefferson's, like I said, he's held a high price because he's been great. CeeDee Lamb, no interest?
No.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say, to answer your question, Bobby, I just think it's a matchup thing for me, and it's purely matchup driven. And so that's why I would go JJ. But not considering that, I would look at Kamara. But
just like the Colts were so bad too. Like, they're bad defensively as well. I just, that's where I'm struggling. Is like, I think Sam Darnold is just, he's kind of come down from his glory run to start the season a little bit.
When we did back testing, and all 3 of you guys participated in various back test streams with me. I feel like, Josiah, were you on with me in back testing?
That's okay.
No, all right. It was Burns and Bobby.
Getting homered here already. Come on, I don't hate the Vikings.
when we did the back testing, one of the things that I came away telling myself was, and you relive the entirety of the 2023 season when you're doing that. One of the things I told myself was stop being scared of quarterbacks in blowouts. That was just like one of the lessons I took away, was not to be that scared. While the blowouts do cause some problems, like there were just enough times when it didn't matter. And you had basically a quarterback going up against a shitty team and they just put up points because, hey, it's the Colts and they stink. Or last year there was a game where, the Cowboys chose to style on the Giants and just have some fun. Dak put up like 40 and they won 41-0. We've seen Josh Allen win with 35 fantasy points in blowouts multiple times. So non-competitive QBs can play them. That's a little takeaway from that. But let's get back into the wide receiver group, guys. And let's actually now break it down by stud, medium, and dud, because this stud group is very interesting. So I've got the domination station sorted. Actually, we could do this. We don't need to do it on the Dom. I can do it right here on the DraftKings screen, and I'll blow that up a little bit so we can see it better. But right up top here, so the names: Jefferson, Lamb, Brown, Smith, McLaurin, Wilson, and Adams, right? So 7K up to 8,800. At the very, you have the aforementioned Justin Jefferson. Hey, Sam Darnold's going to be chalky. Justin Jefferson will probably be stacked the shit out of with those. Like Darnold and Jefferson's going to be a very chalky stack. CeeDee Lamb got Cooper Rush in there. I don't think any of us are excited about, a 9K wide receiver catching passes from Cooper Rush. It's difficult to get there with that kind of quarterback. That's no Joe Burrow. Then, of course, you got Brown and Smith. Smith priced up incorrectly. Smith priced up for Brown being out, and then Brown's not out. So now you just have two guys that are kind of overpriced. I don't know if I like that. And Terry McLaurin getting the Joey Porter Jr. treatment. Shark Lab, I know you're not into that.
No. Nope. Not
Which
at all.
leaves you, so I mean, up top, and then Wilson and Adams. So up top here, and I'll start with you, Burns. Do we need to be in this zone at all? Can we just skip it? Or is there anybody of interest here that, you got Jefferson again, very expensive. The middle guys all seem tied to a quarterback or sketchy. And then, of course, it's just Adams and Wilson left. And, okay, I like those guys a little bit. I like them a lot, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of viability in not actually working in this zone at all. In all the Millie Maker lineups I researched, 7K salary range, only 9% of those lineups rostered a 7K wide receiver over 9 weeks.
That's the stuff.
8K, same thing. We're looking at 13%, so you get a little bit more of a bump. Whereas the 6K, you had 30%, 5K, 25%, 4K, 14%. So having a more, and I talk about it all the time, having a more flatline salary across your lineups will win you more tournaments than if you were peaks and valleys with your lineups, where you have a lot of like studs in your lineups, and then you have to go to your like 3K guys, and you don't know what you're going to get with a 3K guy. They're more miss than they're going to hit. And so having that flat line salary across your wide receivers of 6K and 5K, yes, you still have to hit on the right guys, but you're more likely to hit on better plays overall than you are when you go with a Justin Jefferson and then like a guy like Ray McLeod 3, who is like 3,500, right? And you don't know what you're going to get with that guy. Yeah, he could go off like one game a year, sure, but you got to pick that one.
Yeah,
it's different when you get a Tillman play, pay down option, or Kate Otten at 3,500. Makes it work a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean,
Tillman was great for 2 weeks. But I totally agree, Burns. And especially this week, I'm not sure we're going to be able. There's no value available. It's Friday, and there really isn't like standout value. Yeah. You saw when we sorted by. Normally, when I sort the Dom station by ownership, a value play is the highest owned. So it'll be like some Elijah Moore type player that's 4,200 that's popping. this week we do have those kind of players, but no one's really popping because we're not really sure like who actually is the WR1 for the Saints or the Bucks. We're like, I'm not sure who the hell these guys are. Is Jalen McMillan healthy? The rest of them stink. And in the Bucks and the Saints guys, the one guy who was any good, Wilson Jr., I think his name has a Q tag going. You're like, I don't know if he's going to play.
Officially out.
Oh, he's out. They have no one. Bob Means is out. Who are they playing? Dante Pettis, former wide receiver from the 49ers from back in the
Bears. Tea time with Tipton, Geek.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. All
it's
right.
actually probably going to be a Juwan Johnson week.
It's
like 3,300 or 3,200 on DraftKings.
Yes.
No, Mason Tipton, bro. They need two others. They don't even have them on the roster. Who's playing on that team? I don't know. That's going to be a weird one. We'll find out more tomorrow. I guess we'll get some Adam Schefter updates or something. But let's go to the secondary group here, as we've kind of agreed. I like Wilson and Adams. I want to say that, and I prefer Wilson to Adams a little bit. I think Wilson's been great each week, and I just want to point out that the Jets they lost Alan Lazard, so it's just these two guys. And if you don't think Breece Hall is going to go bonkers, there's literally only two other guys on the team that are involved, and they're both getting 30+% target share. So I don't mind them. I don't think it's the best thing I've ever seen in my life, but I don't mind either one of those guys. Be happy to play them. But let's go down. People keep talking about Pickens, George Pickens at 6,800. BobbyWow, you've been visibly annoyed at some players who never deliver value against their price point, and you've pointed it out. I feel like George Pickens is that guy.
Yeah, I don't know. 25 points against the Jets. Yeah, I don't know. I agree, though. Overall, you're right.
That was a miracle play that got him the 25. That broken ass play.
It'll still count, though. Yes, it was a miracle play.
This guy has never produced a 28 in his career. He's 7K. Why did they raise the salary? I don't really get it.
Is it the Russ Wilson effect?
I guess
maybe that part of it, where now he's got to.
I
can't tell you. I don't have any really good reasons for you. But I do think he's in play, just given that, again, it's just such a weird slate.
I don't think I'm
bizarre slate.
Bobby, I don't think I'm playing this guy.
If I'm playing Russ, I'm playing Pickens. That's the way it works.
Only with
That's
Russ.
why.
Only with Russ. I am playing Debo. That's my right punk. This is, if anybody ever need that 2-week rest from a bye week, it's always Debo.
Yep.
This guy has a Q tag for his whole career. Now he's feeling good.
Still the Q tag, but feeling much better.
Yeah, but he's feeling better.
Hey, you're almost at the guy, though. You're almost there.
It's not London, is it?
No, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. Like I keep saying,
Against the Jets, bro?
Yeah, buddy.
You've seen this. Sauce Gardner has really been slacking over the last few games, making some silly mistakes. He's not all there. He's someone that we can target at this point. And Marvin Harrison, his prices keeps going lower and lower and lower every slate. 6,400 is a good price tag for him. Tough matchup, but I'm willing to take the shot here. I'm going to be significantly over the field on him today. Sunday.
Yeah, MHJ is gonna rock this week.
What?
That's a Buckeye bias. Get out of here. Come on.
Get out of here. Both of you guys are freaking nuts. Okay.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I just like it.
No, hold up. You earned this. You guys
like...
both earned this.
No, but just get perspective. Is that like the Caleb Williams quarterback situation where like you're comparing price tag to ceiling potential and just his upside is super high?
Yeah.
Low ownership? Because that to me makes more sense.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. It's like a pretty solid spot, cheaper than we've seen him all season, low ownership, and not as tough of as a matchup as I think it looks like on paper.
Yeah, they've been bleeding points to the wide receivers. Fantasy points over expectation is one of the worst in the NFL right now through the last 4 weeks for the Jets to the wide receiver position.
That helps.
I'm having a hard time with it.
A lot of people have a hard time with it.
Yeah.
I'm having a more hard time with Mooney above him.
Darnell Mooney priced at 6,300.
I'll play Harrison over Mooney every single day of the week.
Yeah. Mooney had a good game because Drake London went out last week.
There hasn't been a boner alert worthy game. Last night's game was that. We need to have that kind of situation. I should have brought that back. I should have brought that back when you guys announced that Chase Brown was going to be the starter and Zach Moss was doubtful during the show. I think it was last week. That was that spot. That
Oh,
was the
maybe.
right spot for that.
I don't know. You might have it with the Sunday night game.
Yeah, a couple spots there, but let's keep on going. So DJ Moore.
Don't forget Brian Thomas, though.
Oh, yeah.
Brian
Mac
Thomas.
Jones. Wait, Mac Jones to Brian Thomas Jr. for the win?
Brian Thomas is
Who
always
else would
in
it be
play.
too? Yeah, Evan Ingram, maybe, but Brian Thomas is the guy. He's going to be legit, man. I hope he gets a good quarterback eventually.
Yep.
Mac?
Can dream.
Are we dissing on Trevor Lawrence right now?
They're going to bounce Trevor in the offseason, you think?
Nope.
I don't
Jacksonville
know.
failed Trevor. He'll be good somewhere else, but he needs to get out of there.
They need better coaches on the Jaguars. That's what they need, not better quarterback. They need an actual good coaching staff, which they'll never get because that owner is Jets-like in his incompetence of hiring.
Yeah, from the Jets and
Yeah.
Chicago Bears
He's
tree.
Woody,
Yeah.
he's Woody Johnsonian in his incompetence, in his hiring incompetence. Woody Johnsonian. I just made that one up. That's a new verb invented
Yeah.
right here.
No to DJ. No to DJ.
No to DJ. All right, Josh Downs. No Michael Pittman. He's the only game in town for the Colts. Actually, Anthony, it's Pierce. Do you know who the guy is? It's Fierce Pierce now with the actual play. Just thought of this.
Yeah, I think
Downs.
this is
I think
owner-
Downs a cash lock. To me, Downs a cash lock. For
Yeah,
sure.
but he's getting too owned though for GPP.
You think it's too own? What about it? Do the Bills have a cornerback that could take a player like Downs out of the game? The Bills have been good secondarily. Like
I think they move him to Pittman's role though. That's the only problem. Like Downs could be moved to Pittman's role, and then they bring in Adonai Mitchell into the slot. So I don't know if I like Downs this week. So
Can I ask
I
a
wouldn't
question?
count on
Is outside of Mike Evans and Lattimore, is matchup the new weather? Like where we just overthink it sometimes?
No, I think people underthink matchup. Like people never even when it's a clear spot, people just don't play it enough. We saw it with like Bo Nix against the Panthers. We see it all the time. People don't think about matchup enough.
I mean,
But
like
you
player, like
quarterback,
single one-on-one
receiver?
player matchup, like
Oh, yeah,
cornerback
yeah.
to
That's
wide
overblown
receiver.
sometimes.
I
Yeah,
think
you
that
need to look at defensive scheme as a whole more so. Than
Yes,
anything.
yes.
to me, I think that we overestimate what defenses do, not under.
Yes.
That we should be less tied into what we believe are good or bad defenses against position groups. Like we think a team is great versus the run until they suck versus the run. Like it's less the noise in those statistics is greater than what we think. Although again, I do think the power ranking sheet adjusts a little bit for that. So I think like our numbers, when you bring it off the power rankings where it's taking the player average versus like the team versus the average of the player rather than like how many yards did somebody get, like your standard number like this is just, we only allowed X number of points. The metric we're using in the power rankings does account for the actual good or badness of the opponent. Yeah. But with that being said, I would lean, I've talked to Derek Hardy is a big models guy. He created the Blitz and a few different models. He's very known for that. And when I watch time, I've met, we've talked, but when he talks about this stuff, he says that defensive metrics, especially in NFL football, are very deceiving. That the sample sizes are really small. Like even a full 17 game season is a small sample size, and we're only in game 10. Like that's only at the end of the season. So I think as the season rolls on, we start to get a true feel for if these teams are good. But just to bring it back to the original point, you guys are right. Like the Sauce has not been that great this year. The eye test, bringing it back to that one matchup that we were talking about before, Sauce has not looked like Pat Surtain or Joey Porter Jr.
Yeah.
He's looked a little bit like
There's levels to it.
Last week was getting burned by George Pickens or whoever the hell did that a couple weeks ago, right against Sauce. So that is real. All right, let's move down the wide receiver group though. But Josh Downs, though, again, I think we all agree this is, it's hard not to play him. Without Pittman, it's really good. But I just came up with here on the spot, I think Alec Pearson, maybe even Adonai Mitchell become interesting as
I love the Pierce call.
Yeah. I have a question for y'all too. I know Worthy saw he saw 2 targets last week. It was really Hopkins being the guy. No one has faith in Worthy anymore. We all feel like the Chiefs have given up on him. Is that true? Are y'all believing that
they're not
narrative?
giving
or
up
what's
on
your thought
Worthy.
process?
No. Worthy's just absurdly overpriced on DraftKings compared to who he is. This guy should not sniff 6K on DraftKings.
Yeah, he's not showing up for me.
His volume, it doesn't justify it. 13, 5, 11, 6. Where is the game? He needs a 24. This guy's putting up 12s. Like, he should be priced at 4,900.
Yeah,
he'll crack a couple Mahomes lineups for me just out of respect for the process. But yeah, I don't know how you play him outside of a couple MME shots.
Technically, it's as good of a matchup he's going to have. If they're putting Pat Surtain, I got to remember the name. If they're putting Surtain on Hopkins, you would think, oh, they're going to throw it to Worthy. But watch Juju Smith-Schuster come in and be the guy or some other.
Oh God, no. Okay, stop.
Don't say that.
I think he's healthy this week, guys. I'm just saying, hashtag Juju, right? All right, so let's talk about some of these lower cost wide receivers, and let's kind of try to finish up this wide receiver group here.
I think you're missing one. Kahil Shakir is going to be a good play this week too.
K-Shaq. Oh, there he is. Okay.
Is Cooper out?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
No, Keon Coleman's out.
Keon is out.
Cooper
Amari
might be
Cooper's
too, I
playing.
thought.
What about Amari
playing?
Cooper,
Okay.
though?
I haven't heard on Cooper, but I know Keon Coleman's definitely out.
What about Amari?
Amari, if he's out, just weighing whether he's out or not.
If he's not out.
If he's not out, I mean, he's a decent play this week for sure.
Yeah, Shakir has been sort of the only game in town.
I just like Shakir because he operates out of the slot, and when you operate out of the slot, you tend to beat zone coverages much more effectively than you do on the outsides.
What about Buffalo's slot cornerback? Is he the number one rated at the position according to Jan?
I'd have to look.
I know that Buffalo has been good at limiting opposing wide receiver production, just in general, as their power rankings shows.
Yeah.
All right, let's move down the list here as we look that stuff up. Amari Cooper, we got Ridley, no, right? Cortland Sutton.
He's viable. His ownership is a little high at like 10 to 11%, and that's why I'm not excited about him. But he's a viable play on the slate.
I would max it, probably a Bo Nix stack rather than more than anything else. Maybe not standalone. Keenan Allen, sure, why not? Fine. Addison, acceptable. Dunze,
Addison and Rome are two of my favorite plays down here.
Really? Okay.
I liked Addison quite a bit last week in the showdown, and he has kind of leverage off of JJ, and he popped off a little bit. He finally had a touchdown. He felt like he got over the hump. And so I think, at 5,300, what was price tag against the Jaguars, who are just atrocious. Like, if you're not playing JJ, this might be a spot to pivot to still have some exposure to that, juicy matchup, but just not quite as not nearly as expensive. So I like Addison quite a bit. And Adunze, I talked about last week in the notes, he's a guy that's going to get more and more involved. And we saw it last week. This guy's legit. He's going to be the number 2 guy, if not already, very soon. And at that price tag, I think that 18.4 probably gets you there this week.
Yeah, 5K.
So, and I think we're just going to see more and more Adunze too. I don't think that's that's not the ceiling. So
I really like the Addison call. I think that was great. And at that ownership with a chalky Darnold, makes a lot of sense.
Just never throw to him. Now they have Hopkins back. Not Hopkins, Hawkinson back. So it's one more target. Basically, I would only. I think this is the best. This is a better play with Darnold at the helm. You want to kind of stack that. That WR2 with the quarterback. If Addison's going off, Darnold's probably having a 28 plus pointer. Moving down, because we need salary relief here. We found no real relief at the running back position. The only relief we found at quarterback, his name is Mac Jones, and that's gross. So we need some salary relief, guys. And usually that comes from lower cost wide receivers. So let's talk about the cheap zone at wide receiver here. 5K and under wide receivers. I'll just start. I mean, there's a couple of names here that I think are interesting. If Jawan Jennings doesn't play, I'll go right back to Ricky Pearsall, win that afternoon tournament. A little help there. We mentioned Pierce a couple of minutes ago. He will be added to my sheet shortly. With Pittman out, why not Alec Pierce? The kid is good. Flacco likes him. And then, of course, we've got the backup wide receiver tipped, like the backups for those other teams. So, I like those two guys. Pierce, give me some Pierce. Maybe some Pearsall. But Josiah, do you have anybody here that's popping for you under 5K?
No.
Get me some value so I can make lineups that look not terrible.
I have a mixture of guys you're going to hate, like Parker Washington, Tyler Boyd, Gabe Davis, little Jordan Humphrey. Like, there's some guys you're going to hate in there, but there's no one that I'm forcing into lines that I'm going to say I'm going to go back for. No.
I've got a name here. Parker Washington. Parker Washington, okay. Burns, what about Noah Brown with Joey Porter Jr. taking out Terry McLaurin?
Yeah,
Go to the WR2.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, could happen, He's starting to get more run with Jaden Daniels now. So,
yeah, a little Noah Brown. I matchup-based play right there.
Yeah, he's where the field's going to.
Yeah,
BobbyWow, you got any cheapies for us?
Yeah, I think Raheem Jarrett's interesting. We talked a lot about Baker and how he just generates points. Raheem Jarrett was essentially the WR1 last week. It didn't show up in the book, but he was on the field for 90% of the snaps, and he's intriguing as a punt.
I feel like it's scary to play him after the one target.
Oh, it's definitely scary. There's no sure thing about these guys down here, but
Mingo?
I'll be mixing him in. God, no.
Don't put Mingo.
You mentioned Tipton, so you got to do the Tipton breakdown.
It's the same deal. WR1 snaps, he's going to be the only healthy wide receiver. So, I think
we also agree it's scary to play him after the 3 target 0 reception game.
It's terrifying. He's not even cheap enough to play. That's why I mentioned the other guy, or Jarrett, over him. I will say one thing: if Amari Cooper is out, I will have elevated interest in Curtis Samuel, who will be really the only other healthy wide receiver on that team at 3,300. So again, it's a punt, not like a heavy investment, but I think 3,300.
Burns, you got any cheapies for us this week?
Yeah, I'll have ownership in Demario Douglas, going up against Chicago.
WR1 for his team, Drake May, the stud.
Yeah, he operates out of the slot, and he's been doing it pretty effectively the last few weeks. Yeah, he had a couple of bad weeks in there, but he's also been injured a lot this year, so he's getting back into health. You could see him break off some good runs after the catch this week. And then a guy that I'll have ownership in Russell Wilson lineups is Calvin Austin the third out of the slot. This is a guy that, it's a punt. It is really, that's all it is. He's really not done much, but he got some really good run against the Giants in week 8. And, you could see him do pretty well this week.
I like that call. I'll have a lot of them too.
I will not have much Calvin Austin, but I get it. He's the only other guy on the field, I guess. He's just such a turd.
It's a week to take some shots on those guys, though. The volume is key. If you're going to have a guy that's on the field for 80%, 90% of the snaps and there's no one else around him, he's worth, a couple percentage points if you're running out 150 lineups.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't even hate Justin Watson, Tony Turner in the chat. I don't even hate it.
I do hate it. No, this is for you, Tony Turner. Hold on. Let me ask the bishop about Justin Watson.
Hell no, to the no.
Fuck Justin Watson, bro. I'd rather play Juju Smith-Schuster at this point than Justin Watson. That guy's got 90% on the field. He gets 2 targets, and he drops it.
4 targets last week, caught 3 over 43 yards. Not terrible.
He's a pass dropper. The minute you get excited about him, he just drops it. He's basically Mike Williams. What's his name? Mike Williams.
Mm-hmm.
It's that Jets guy. The floater's coming for him.
Wow.
Falls.
What if it's MVS week? This is the first time he's going to be a starter for maybe his whole career.
That's That's a good point. Actually.
Is that who's getting the start for the Saints? It's MVS.
He was out there a little bit last week towards then.
Unless Taysom's going to get to start at wide receiver, yeah, MVS is really he's the second guy. He's the second body.
It's genuinely not that bad of a play. That one I'll take over Justin Watson. It's like genuinely okay. It's not that bad.
Okay.
It's horrible, but at least Traquan Smith that got it done on that team once in that role. So even though it was 4 years ago, we know it could happen.
No Sterling Shepard, Geek? Come on, I was waiting for you to bring up Sterling.
No, he's so old. He's just old.
He's not that old. I thought he was too, but he's not that old.
He is. He's 31.
That's so much younger than me. It's not
I don't know with the Bucks guys. Like, I don't know which one to go with. I genuinely don't know which one of these guys can get any kind of, like Trey Palmer. He's had opportunity after opportunity. It's never anything.
Sterling Shepard just turned back the clock 10 years last week. Some of the catches he was making at the end of the game, I don't know if you guys were watching, but holy cow, he was pulling in some crazy passes.
The minute you start trusting Sterling Shepard, he gets hurt during the game that you finally played him in.
That's a very good point.
He is an
two rushing attempts too, by the way.
Yeah, the fact that they gave him rushing attempts was impressive. It is hilarious this week. All right. Guys, remember to hit that like button. We are making our run for 30,000 subscribers on the DFS Army YouTube channel. So you got to be subscribed if you want to feel the vibe.
That's good.
See? On the spot. That's called freestyling. The background in that. You guys don't know about it. One day I'll share it. All right. Let's talk about the tight end position. For NFL, I like the tight ends this week. I think maybe even double tight end might not be the worst thing that you ever did in your life.
Agreed.
This week. Agreed. I think it might be that. Now, see, here's what's funny. Border Hoppers, who is not having a very good week, by the way. But Border Hoppers is, see, it's going to take a second for that one to click in for you guys. But it will.
I got it.
Come on, man.
I got it.
No, there's no time. But what if he's saying it's like he's too cheap?
Is it too cheap or too expensive? That's what I was going to say.
I think we got to hear him out here. We see, this is the problem. This is right here. This is the problem. Okay.
We communication. I don't know if he's saying it's criminal because it's too expensive.
Dialogue.
Or it's too cheap. How crazy is that? I think maybe 5,500 is too cheap for Cade Otton, who gets 10 targets every single week and is probably going to get 15 targets.
See, there you go.
Oh, okay, there it is.
We're all on the same page here, everybody.
All right, good. Because I'm like, is he going to say too expensive? I didn't know. None of us knew which way that was going. But like, this dude's getting 10 targets. He's scoring 20 plus at the tight end position. You never heard of Cade Otton before 3 weeks ago. You didn't even know who it was.
Now there are people calling him Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, now he's young Tony G. I'm not going to call him Kelsey. That's got that
respect on the name.
That's got too much
would that be too disrespectful?
Yeah, no,
that's too much baggage. And Gronk, you know, I got my love for Gronk. I don't want to. Gronk's number is retired in my house. I actually have his jersey on the wall. It's retired. No one can ever be Gronk. There will never be another. But Cade Otton. Is there a $5,500 player on DraftKings in any position that you'd rather have in your lineup this week than Cade Otton?
Can I list you a couple at wide receiver just for reference?
Yes.
Not that I would rather have, but here's what that range is. It's Cortland Sutton, it's Keenan Allen, it's Jalen Tolbert, and I like Addison and Adunze, but those are the guys.
This is what I'm saying. Like, I have to make a choice between Jalen Tolbert, catching passes from Cooper Rush, competing with two players who are above him in the pecking order on his own team. Really. Or Cade Otton, who is the WR1 in the highest total game of the week. Burns, is there a $5,500 play? Like BobbyWow just said it. This guy is like the guy this week. No? It's chalk. Let's take a look. Hold on.
I'm sure he probably is.
Is he the highest owned? Nope. Wait. Sort it.
No, he's relatively low owned, just like 5%.
Look, guys.
That works.
That's the crazy part.
I mean, honestly, almost this was inappropriate for a public show. He's going to be 5% owned.
You brought him up.
I know we actually should have kept it quiet. No, I'm just kidding. We don't
Just
do
to
that.
kind of inject a little bit of realism here. Like he is a higher price for a tight end. Okay, so with that in mind, most people don't build double tight end lineups. Although I agree with you, this is a good week for it. And people are scared off of the matchup too. I mean, and let's be honest, Cade Otton has not been an automatic 25-point guy for his whole career. This has just become a thing over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Hold on. We never heard of him before 3 weeks. I know I have heard of him.
No, we plugged him last season.
Yeah, we played
plugged
last
him.
year.
But he was a $3,500
Yes.
tight end that you weren't loading up on. He was just another Turdley tight end.
To your point,
And
how could you not play double tight end and get him in there somehow?
Yeah.
he's taking advantage of injuries too,
Yeah. Well, well, what we've seen with Otton is he's had these occasional breakout games throughout his career where he puts up 20 plus. But he's been competing with Godwin and Mike Evans and all of that. And now he's not competing with anyone, and he's getting 10 targets and he's putting up monster numbers, and he's in the game of the week. I don't mind double tight end from this game.
Yeah. And look, it's not like this isn't Will Dissly. Like he's making some athletic catch. This dude looks really good on the field too. Otton does. So it's no fluke.
You just dissed Dissly pretty big there. Kelsey right now projecting is the highest owned at 20%.
He might be back.
I don't mind it, by the way. I actually like that.
Yeah.
Burns for the same reason that you didn't like Hopkins, Pat Surtain Jr.
Yeah.
We're over here talking about
It's going to push
Justin
targets
Watson
to Kelsey.
getting those targets or Worthy. The targets will go to Kelsey.
It's going to
Kelsey
push
has
targets.
28 targets the last 2 weeks. Double-digit catches. Back-to-back weeks with 25 plus points. So Kelsey, he's back.
I also have to mention that Kelsey is on that team of mine that I told you was going to score like 250 redraft points this week because that team is completely out of the running. He's on that team. He's one of those studs. Every single one of them. I will show you that screenshot next week. I'm going to bring that for this show just so you guys see that Kevin wasn't fucking around. It was Thursday, and you will see who played on Thursday, and then you're going to see like the highest scoring lineup. I'm already telling you now. I already know it will happen. And if it doesn't happen, I'll just not mention it next week anyway, and it'll all be forgotten.
It'll score 150.
So it's a win-win for me. It only has to be shown if what I'm saying is true.
The one thing that does worry me about Kelsey, though, is that his ownership, he is the most popular tight end. He's also the most expensive tight end on the slate, and that's never a combination I love. So I'm going back and forth on it a little bit without Mahomes.
We get the low-owned Cade Otton, fine by me.
Yeah.
I don't agree that Grant. Yeah, I think Godwin's coming back, so Calcaterra will probably be forgotten about.
But then you go back to the wide receiver and you see, Xavier Worthy, Khalil Shakir is a good play. Lad McConkey, those guys are the 6K guys. And you're like, okay, maybe it's not terrible.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not Xing him out. I'm just primarily having him with Mahomes, and then I'm trying to get a little bit different with TJ Hawkinson, Cade Otton, and a lot of these tight ends like Trey McBride. All of these are guys I'm just trying to force in there.
Is Trey McBride paying someone at DraftKings just to keep his price up?
Trey McBride is doing the same thing that effectively, like on a smaller scale, that Justin Jefferson is doing, which is getting plenty of volume, getting targets, having an okay floor, but never not hitting those ceiling games. He's like a weak, a poor man's version of it. But let's take a look at what he's been doing, because the targets have been there.
One good week.
11, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, crappy one last week, but for the most part, the targets have been there most of the season. 7, 8, there's some 6s, but 9, 9, 7, 8, 11. It's been okay. But at 13.5 fantasy points per game, you know what, Bobby? That pricing's not super off. It's not super off. He's averaging 13.5. I think he should be.
He's been the same price as George Kittle the whole season. Seriously?
He should be probably closer to 5K. But hey, I'd say that Evan Ingram is more egregiously priced. He's had fewer good games. So it's a little over. It's a little over. He's averaging 13.5 fantasy points at 5,700. It's a little over. I mean, if you compare it to Kittle has been way, way better. Kittle is the better play this week. Kittle's a better play most weeks, but anytime they're missing a player in San Francisco, Kittle's going to be a better play. So,
no, you're right. I mean, that's pretty respectful.
Yeah, I want to explore this for a second. I really think this is double tight end city here. When you look at Kelsey at 6K, I mean, what we just said really holds. Kittle at 5,800, K-Dot at 5,500. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I see any better wide receivers for the same price that have as much upside. Yeah,
I agree. I fully agree.
Hawkinson last week got back in the game. Hawkinson also interesting at 4,700. All right, so we kind of like some of these expensive tight ends. Burns, do you have anybody here sub 5K? Like I'm assuming you're on board with Kate Otten and Kittle and Kelsey.
Yeah, I mean they'll be a part of my player pool for sure because I don't X anybody out. But yeah, 4K Dalton Kincaid. He's thrusting that $5,000 salary range. Really hasn't been doing that great this season. So I think he's going to be a guy that's probably going to be forgotten. And that's usually when he's going to do things. TJ Hawkinson. What's that?
I wish I could forget drafting him.
I know, me too. Okay. TJ Hawkinson, second week back. We'll see what they can do with him against Jacksonville. Taysom Hill he seems to always be that guy that is in play when he shouldn't be in play.
He's too cheap.
He is. I think as we crest into the 3K range, a guy that'll have a good amount of ownership this weekend is Hunter Henry. I just like how he projects this week. He's in a good matchup on paper.
Bears have been bad against them.
They love Hunter Henry in New England. Just pepper him with targets.
And then Juwan Johnson. I'll fill it out with Juwan Johnson as the last guy that I'll talk about. He's in a really good matchup. I think a lot of people go to Taysom Hill, and it could just be that Juwan Johnson week where we don't have any wide receivers that are worth a shit. So
Disley is chalky again. Are the chalksters just nuts, or is this a correct thing? Should we be on him?
What's his face back out again? Is Disley the only guy that's healthy?
I feel like Hayden Hurst is the other name, right? And he's been out for is it Hayden Hurst is the other guy there?
I believe so.
No, he's playing. He's playing. He's fine. I don't really get the Disley chalk situation. I haven't played him. Now I know he did have a good game, so all right, I missed a good one, but for the most part, I have not played Disley at all this year. And I haven't been burned by it. Yeah, the 16. That was a good game at 2,800. And I guess a 9 for 3K is acceptable as well. But I haven't played this guy. I don't really get it. I don't understand it. I'm out on Disley. Anybody down here of interest beyond the names that Burns just kicked out there? A little Adam Troutman coming off. No. Okay. No. Fuck that guy too. No Disley. You know what? The only name that no one ever talks about, but every now and again comes through for me is Tyler Conklin. I don't care that he hasn't done much the last few weeks. Tyler Conklin is the GOAT. Top knot.
I have some Conklin exposure too. You're not alone.
Is that a top knot?
Oh no, is that one of those rule outs for you, like the Camara nose thing?
It is.
Stop.
Yeah, the nose thing is really bothersome. It's really bothersome. Put that in on your NFL picture day. Come on, bro. Wear that on your free time. Shave your face. Look nice. You're taking a picture. Take your jewelry off, bro.
You're showing your age, Kevin. You're
take your jewelry out of your nose. I'm not into it.
I don't like septum piercings either, though. To be honest,
that is if I was a young man on applications that set up men and women, like whatever those are, if there was a septum ring, I'm out. That would be in my profile. Like, listen, if you got a septum ring or anything like that, or a ring in a place on your face that's not your ear, I'm out.
See, this is why you're not in HR anymore, Kevin. This is why you don't work for a company. You have your
I would
own.
be terrible at being in HR or any of that. Like, I'm out. You're not even hired here. I've told you, though, I have some hiring practices that are controversial as well here at DFS Army. I'm not going to share them over the air because that could be used against you if you speak them. Okay, so anyway. You got to know how to weed people out. You can't build businesses without a hiring philosophy. Look at, we got smart people over here. Got to have brains, looks, and common sense. And the common sense one, that is something I have filters for that. I know when it's not there.
Any Chig for you, Burnsy? His season high snaps last week, 73%, had 4 targets. 3K.
Yeah, I mean, metrically he's in a good spot. I didn't even look at him.
I don't
Red zone targets over 15%. Yeah, I mean, you could look at him this week for sure.
BobbyWow, Cole Kmet. Yes or no?
I can't comment. I'm so sorry.
I'm trying to get him to say to talk about it.
Cole Kmet will always be a yes for me, but if the Bears are doing well offensively, you can bet your bottom that Cole Kmet is involved.
Yeah.
Problem is they just Shane Waldron. I don't know. I don't know where he is. He's gone. I don't know what the heck's happening. Yeah. If you think the Bears are going to perform well offensively, then get some Cole Kmet in your lineups.
We got a Border Hoppers got a first place in last night's showdown.
Let's go.
That was probably not your notes though.
Hey, we crushed NBA last night though. In general, we freaking crushed it.
Love to hear it.
But that was probably TK Moss. He does
TK Moss.
Notes.
TK. I know his. Yeah. So there we go. All right, let's talk defenses, guys. To wrap this bad boy up, BobbyWow's losing it over there. So we got to
how is Taysom Hill so cheap? And I can't believe you're not hammering home to the end of the days.
Why are we hammering? What is the interest in Taysom Hill?
I hate Taysom Hill. Okay.
What is the love for this?
And it's unfair. He doesn't deserve it. But
will they use him as a pass catcher? If we can get Taysom Hill actually playing a pass catcher, I think this might be a smash.
He's been targeted 4 and 5 times the last, since he got back. And who else is playing wide receiver? Like Juwan's going to be playing wide receiver this week. Taysom's going to be lining up at tight end even more than normal.
No backup running back for the Saints either. Their main guys have been out. Kendre Miller out IR. He's done. What the hell's the other guy's name? Juwan?
No, it's what's his name?
Juwan?
Jamal Williams.
He's got a Q tag. Questionable. I like it better if Jamal doesn't play. Because then he'll get the backup carries for Kamara as well. But yeah, okay, I'm down with Taysom. Why are you afraid to say it? I want it to be a BobbyWow play. That's a BobbyWow call.
It just makes me sick for the rest of the day when I say Taysom Hill's playable, but he is.
Taysom's the man. Love Taysom Hill. All right, let's move on. By the way, yeah, I do remember when Taysom Hill and FanDuel had him as a tight end. It wasn't DraftKings, and it was FanDuel, I believe, and I went 100% all in on Taysom Hill starting quarterback at the TE spot that week, and that was one of the funnest. Of course, he was 60% owned, but he should have been 100% owned. You had 40% of the field that blew it that week. We talk about that all the time. Remember that week? That was a great week.
That was fun.
OG turned $19 into $871 last night. Guys, by the way, these are not DFS Army representatives. You guys in the chat, and this has been like 7 or 8 different people who won a tournament in NBA last night. Regular members, the members who sign up for DFS Army using promo code VIP50, and they get in there and they're winning tournaments. Now, I'm not promising that anybody who's watching this, I can't promise that you're going to win a tournament. Can't promise anything. But what I can say is that we put maximum effort into building amazing tools and having the best coaching staff that you can find to be super helpful. And we generally care about our members. We cheer each other on. We help each other out. And the tools are constantly improving. That's a big part of my philosophy with any sort of sites that we're building and that we do is to roll the dues back into these things to make things better all the time. I feel that we're in a game here where our competition is always looking to get an edge on us. And if we ever stop or if we ever slow down, really trying to learn, trying to get better, trying to improve our tools. That's why we have the prop models now and the sim boost and all that stuff. Those things are recent. We're adding tools constantly here at DFS Army. So we truly do want you guys to win. So I'm really excited. I love seeing all these great notes here in the chat. And it's not shocking for me, man. I appreciate you guys putting your faith in us in DFS Army for your DFS play. This is our hobby. We all are doing this for our fun time. I don't do anything else. I haven't left the house in weeks. The DoorDash guy knows me by name. I have my own guy at this point. It's like, it's Emmanuel. It's just him. He's like, when he sees the order come in, he's like, Kev, I'm bringing you lunch. Don't worry about it. Like, that's what's going on here. That's how much dedication we're talking about. Do you guys have your own DoorDash guy? No, that's just me. Like when it starts to be the same guy over and over again, and he's like, "Oh," and you chat now when he comes to the door. I don't speak to anybody. I tweet chat when he comes to the door. Hey, Emmanuel, what's up, my man?
I got my own barbecue person though.
That's good too. Is that yourself?
She knows me by name
at the barbecue place?
Oh yeah.
Emmanuel does not play DFS, or I would tip him a DFS lineup. He doesn't play. Doesn't even do fantasy football, as crazy as that sounds. We've chatted about it. He's like, what do you do all day? Why are you here? Like, they think it's weird. Why are you here? Shouldn't you be at work? Aren't you a man? And I tell him I'm a stay-at-home dad when my kids are grown, so I don't do anything. Okay, defense. My kids' friends think I make my money playing fantasy football like in redraft leagues. That's what they do. Yeah, they're like, what do you do, Dad? I'm like, tell them I'm a fantasy football man. That's all. What? Then they started to call me, asking me for fantasy football advice. I'm like, 16-year-olds are texting me personally, directly. I'm like, how did you get my number? Oh, your daughter, Noah, your daughter gave it to me. All right, so how'd you get my direct line? You tell them to tweet me instead. Defenses for NFL Week 10, Burns. Chargers are taking on the Titans. The Chargers are at home.
They're going against Will Levis too.
It's Will Lev ass. The guy's terrible. How important is it for me to find $3,800 in salary and just pay for this and suck it up? And then you got the Vikings against Mac Jones. By the way, it gets better with I don't know which one's better. Which one's better?
They're both pretty good. Though I think the Chargers are probably in a better spot because, Will Levis just throws interception after interception. So, yeah. I mean, don't forget the Chiefs too. I mean, they got a good spot here. They got a good spot. The Eagles with Cooper Rush are in a good spot. There's a lot of good spots.
You got to pay up for the good spots, Burns.
There's a lot of good spots though this week. Even down here in the 3K 3,100 range, you got some good spots there with the Steelers.
Chicago.
You got the Jets. They're in a good spot. You got Cardinals are actually in a good spot. Aaron Rodgers is dusty. So
hold on. Wait a minute. Don't say another word.
How dare you?
Sorry. Just have to put that in there.
Why? Because I said Aaron Rodgers is dusty.
Just on the Jets here, man. No, unacceptable.
He's still dusty, but Cardinals actually, their defense was pretty competent last week. They were in my cheat sheets and they did pretty well. So I was pretty happy about that. But I don't know if I can get to any of these low salary defenses this week. I think it's kind of, you're going to be in that 2,900 and above on DraftKings primarily. These are just where the good defenses are going to reside. You could potentially go to the Buccaneers and catch the San Francisco 49ers.
No. We're not playing.
But I'm not going there. I said you could go there, but
if you want to lose,
I'm not going there.
No,
but
in the cheap zone here. All right, let's establish that these fucking defenses are GOAT, with the best being Chargers all the way up top. If you can afford it, please play the Chargers. They will pay you in dividends, in spades. BobbyWow, I think, told me to play the Chargers 2 weeks ago, and it was glorious. Was it last week?
Yeah,
it was last week. I can't, in my brain, I don't know why I keep thinking everything that happened last week was from 2 weeks ago. Yeah, Bobby, this was the last week play, right? And I was playing Winston, and you're like, screw that, play Chargers defense, and I did, by the way.
We try to forget.
I mean, in fairness, it wasn't me. It was really the NFL community as a whole. I think probably in agreement on that one.
Yeah.
Right, well, they all
Just saving you from yourself, Geek. That's all. We're just here to help.
It was a good call.
It was that Jameis Winston is a hero call.
Yes, but with that being said, so these top guys are great. Is there anybody cheap that you feel good about? Jets? Who? Give me your best pick under 3K. You get one name, no more than one. Burns. One.
It's going to be that Jets Cardinals game. I mean, one of those
literally hedging with two. Pick one.
Jets,
all right,
because they're favored now.
Take the favorite Jets. Okay, that's a good pick. Josiah, one name under 3K. We already know to play the Chargers.
Yeah, silly for it, like gummy play. I'll say the Patriots. I like Caleb this week, but he can be just as bad. I
think Patriots made the first look lineup that I put out this week because Caleb sometimes is nice, but
yeah,
I'm shocked they're not chalkier. Honestly, that's a good spot. Yeah,
because they've been an actual bad defense.
Yeah,
like players like
I know that, but
what about you, Bobby? Same? No, you can't pick against your team.
I know they're 3K, but and they're chalky as heck. I don't know how you don't like the Bears. Anyone couldn't like the Bears this week.
I like the Bears. Yeah,
Drake May is hype. You like Drake, I know, but the Bears have been solid all year. It's the one good thing they do. So I think the Bears defense, and then I'll have some Steelers and Jets as well.
Yeah, that's fair. I like the Bears, and I think they pair up spectacularly with DeAndre Swift like a fine wine, a little Chianti, and some New York strip. What's your go-to order at the steakhouse, guys? Last thought. Your go-to order. You got a porterhouse.
Before that, I'll still say there's one more play we can look at too. I think the Broncos are a viable defense too. Patrick Mahomes has thrown an interception in every game besides the last one, and so it's just not crazy to pay down for them.
That's a negative score. That's getting you a minus on the road. If it was at home,
if it's a pick six, though, they pick six them.
All right, go to steak, guys. Harlock says bone-in ribeye.
Go with that. Yeah,
I don't mind it. So I'll give you the choices: filet mignon. You got your porterhouse. Your aged New York strip, got to be aged. And then on the outskirts, you got your prime rib. And on the crazy outskirts, little skirt steak action. You don't hear a lot about skirt steak in the top list. Burns, what are you ordering? We're at Ben Benson's in New York City.
Oh Jesus! I'm going with probably the 30-ounce porterhouse.
Big porterhouse.
That place.
Can't decide. A little fillet on one side, strip on the other side. Get a little bit.
That place is awesome.
Yeah, Josiah, I take you to Peter Luger's in Brooklyn. What are you ordering?
Probably I usually go for the ribeye medium. I'm pretty basic, but if someone has a strong recommendation, I'll follow them on it.
Yeah, if we're going to Luger's, you're ordering the porterhouse, bro. And there's not going to be any kind of ribeye
I'll
being ordered.
I'll take the advice
over there. BobbyWow, you a steakhouse guy?
Yeah, not a New York steakhouse guy, but give me the Chicago cut bone-in ribeye.
Yeah,
all at medium rare every day of the week.
The bone-in ribeye, a lot of ribeye answers.
You need the Chicago cut. You need WR Chicago cut.
I don't even know what a Chicago cut is. Is this I thought you just made it up because you're from Chicago and you felt like you wanted to stick it to New York. I feel currently that you're making that up. That is not real. I don't even believe that Chicago cut is a real thing. I think BobbyWow just made it up.
Sounds like you need a couple minutes to research it.
I will do some research after the show. But my current belief is that, Bobby, you just trolled me and made it up.
Going to Smith & Walensky's up there in Chicago.
Like Chicago pizza is just lasagna.
Smith & Walensky's here in New York too. All right.
Hey, have you been to McSorley's bar in a while, Kev?
I went to McSorley's bar when I was like 21 for my friend's 21st birthday.
Yeah.
It's been a bit since then.
Yeah, it's been a bit since I've been there too.
We threw up outside of it.
Yeah,
Piggy's
that was.
birthday. It was my friend Piggy from college. He
I
was
did
named
like that
Piggy
place. It was
after
good.
Piggy named after the character from Lord of the Flies. And he was just like him. Piggy, what's up if you're out there, man? Miss you. Anyway, Piggy was the man. 21st birthday. That dude didn't make it 5 minutes into McSorley's. He went home. Him and his brother, they left. We're like, where the fuck is Piggy going?
Well, he's probably drinking the
10
dark.
minutes. He made it
not
like
the
10
light.
minutes in. Everybody bought the guy a shot. He was like 11 shots in after about 15 minutes, and he went home. And then me and the rest of the crew stayed out until 6 o'clock in the morning, walking around the East Village or the West Village, going from bar to bar. We wanted to take a shot in every bar. But the 21st birthday guy, he left after 5 minutes. So it was just the rest of us.
Well, the last time I was in New York City, this is a long time ago now. Yeah, we went to McSorley's, and it was a good time though.
McSorley's is like the oldest. I think it's the oldest bar in Manhattan or something like that.
It is. It's
yeah.
And I still think the old dudes, they still serve you too.
It's just a bone-in ribeye, and I feel like they just took the New York strip name and like, hey, we're gonna have our own cut. Chicago deserves its own cut. Chicago doesn't deserve a cut, BobbyWow. No, I don't accept it. There's no reason to leave the bone in on the ribeye. Take the bone out. I cook a mean ribeye here at the house. Yeah, you got to sous vide it. Like if it's 2 inches thick, you sous vide it, cook it in a bag, warm it up, and then you put it on the flat top, sear. It's beautiful.
Sous vide is the way to go. You know, picanha in the sous vide.
I've heard great things about picanha. I've never had it.
Holy crap. You know, that is really good. That's what you need.
There's this guy I follow called Guga Foods on YouTube. He's a Brazilian like steak chef guy from Miami.
Yeah, we're some of our best friends are Brazilians, and they oh my god, the picanha, it's the best, actually the best steak I've ever had.
Yeah, he loves the picanha too. He says this is the low-key best steak in existence. I got to try it. I've never had a picanha. I don't like fat. I don't like the fat cap. Like I will not eat a big chunk of
I don't either. Trust me, but oh man.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's wrap it up there. We went extra. We talked a little steaks at the end. What are you going to do?
We always go extra.
Yeah, we do. We do.
All right. A little extra.
You know what? I'm getting away from trying to push the speed, man. People watch 3-hour podcasts nowadays. It's a thing. We can chat it up. I got more topics. You want me to bring up something else? I'll keep it going. But I know we're wrapping it up. Good stuff, guys. We appreciate your being here. Like, subscribe to the channel. You got the showdown breakdown. This was one of my favorite chats ever in the chat because so many people have been winning tournaments. And I love that you're mentioning it publicly right here in the DFS Army YouTube channel chat. It's a reminder that we want you to be a part of our team. So make sure to check out dfsarmy.com. Or if you're a sports bettor, I have to remind you to check out the Sharp app. The tools are spectacular. Sharp app, by the way, let me tell you guys something. We built on Sharp app an odds screen that is competitive with Don Best or Spank Odds, both of which charge $5.99 a month. That's $599 for. So these guys are selling this product for $500-600 a month. We've got it at 90. And so we built our version, and we have a different technology on there that allows us to stream those quotes at a lower, without as much server cost. We're able to do it at $99 a month. That's 1/4 the price for a superior tool. So many more tools coming to Sharp app as well. If you want to check that out, promo code DFSA25 gets you 25% off either the Pro Plus or the standard subscription at Sharp app. You want to check it out. We have a Proptimizer for every DFS site in existence. Fliff, Parlay Play, Prize Pick, Sleeper, Underdog, everything that you like to play on. It's there already. DraftKings Pick 6 is on it as well. Oh my, I wish I could play Pick 6. We got Tan Guy putting out $1,000 tickets on Pick 6 in the chat. It's mayhem out there. So we appreciate your being here. Like, subscribe, And I will be back tomorrow for DFS Army VIP subscribers, Players Club. We will build lineups for the main slate. We're going to double tight end it. We're getting crazy tomorrow. I don't even know what the hell to do. Like, how many Brock Purdy lineups can I build? We'll figure it out. We'll have it ready for you guys by tomorrow. Good luck this week, everybody. Let's cash those tickets.